Advice, help with material selection, project planning, or loading your vehicle, we go the extra mile to remove as much of the hassle as we can. If there's anything we can do to serve you better, contact me personally, Mike Dunn at Dunlumber.com.
Dunlumber, building success together.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Care Partners Senior Living is growing. Amanda here. We are very excited to introduce our newest communities in Port Orchard, Sumner, and North Creek Bothell, bringing compassionate, quality care at an affordable price, closer to more of you. Visit carepartnersliving.com today.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kathan. From the sound of it, President Trump is looking to get past yesterday's nasty exchange with Elon Musk. The White House says Musk wants a phone call with Trump. CBS's Robert Costa.
President Trump told CBS News Friday that he's moving forward with his presidency. That's, quote, all I focus on, Trump said in a brief phone call. I don't focus on anything else. That's why, he said, I have the highest poll numbers. That confidence comes as Musk continues to ramp up his attacks on the White House, casting President Trump in negative light, not only politically, but personally, and making allegations about Trump's conduct.
Republicans in Congress are calling on Trump and Musk to patch things up, and CBS's Nicole Killian says conservative holdouts on the president's budget bill are trying to find additional cuts.
That is, in fact, what some senators are trying to do, find additional savings in this bill so that it doesn't add so much to the national debt and deficit. But they continue to argue that without this package, many Americans could face an increase in their taxes because this would extend the president's tax cuts. So that's why they believe time is of essence.
There's where the Trump administration's asking the Supreme Court to leave mass layoffs at the Education Department in place while the court case about cutbacks proceeds. The government says employers added 139,000 jobs last month, shaking off concern about the trade wars. Bank of America economist Stephen Juneau.
Job growth is slowing a little bit. Over the last 3 months, we've added just an average of 135,000, but that's really not all that bad considering things. So we're not seeing a sharp slowdown.
The FBI says it stopped a planned attack on a shopping mall in Washington state. CBS's Michael Wallace.
The Bureau got a tip last month that a teenager had posted in an online forum his plan to set off a chlorine bomb at the Three Rivers Mall in Kelso, north of Portland, then shoot people as they ran from the building. The FBI's Douglas Olson says agents searched the teen's home and found
annotated schematics, a clear route to follow, weapons to be used, and a wardrobe to wear.
Olson has no doubt the teen was about to carry out the attack.
Overseas, correspondent Ramy Inocencio tells us it seems Vladimir Putin is carrying out his promised retaliation for Ukraine's drone attacks on Russian air bases.
Russia fired nearly 50 missiles and launched more than 400 drones, said Ukraine's defense ministry. Most were shot down, but cruise missiles did slam into a hotel in Ukraine's northwest town of Lutsk, only about 50 miles from NATO member Poland's border.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 380 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A state university announces sweeping cuts. The story coming up at first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. A crash is blocking the northbound I-5 ramp to State Route 525 in Alderwood. Just some localized slowing there. Maintenance work is wrapped up in the right lane of northbound I-5 at Everett Mall. Travel times, well, we have not put this commute to bed yet. Everett to Seattle will still take you about half an hour. Federal Way to Seattle, 37 minutes, about 5 longer than usual. Renton to Bellevue, 34. Traffic brought to you by Seattle Sports. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial at 97.3 HD2.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Ominous courtroom audio of a Central Washington father who's now accused of killing his 3 daughters. At a hearing in September, Travis Decker pleaded with a judge to let him keep his overnight visits with the girls.
Every time I've had the girls, we have been in campsites in national forests and paid campsites.
It's at one of those campsites near Leavenworth that Decker is accused of murdering his girls. He's been on the loose ever since. KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson with the latest on the manhunt.
We went as close as we could to the search area today on Icicle Road outside Leavenworth. Authorities completing search warrants. They did not say where, but some were targeted at cell phones Travis had. Now they are asking people who have cabins and outbuildings in rural areas of the North and Central Cascades to turn on their lights, open your window coverings, lock doors, just do anything to make it look like you are home.
According to a U.S. Marshal's affidavit obtained by The Independent, Decker had searched the internet for information on how to slip across the border into Canada. Kent police say a workplace dispute turned deadly at a local warehouse. They say a man who'd been fired returned with a gun and a gas can, making threats and starting fires, forcing workers and officers who were called to the scene to evacuate. Witnesses tell KIRO 7 TV.
I heard sirens, saw like 6 police cars drive by.
By the time I saw what was going on, it was already smoke.
Later, police heard gunfire. They say they found the 55-year-old man dead inside the building. Washington State University is cutting more than $17 million from its 2026 budget to handle a drop in state funding and enrollment. The Moscow Pullman Daily News says the Board of Regents approved that yesterday. The school CFO says there will be layoffs, but it's not clear how many. Thousands of grocery store workers have voted to authorize a strike. Their union represents employees at Kroger stores, including QFC and Fred Meyer, as well as workers at Albertsons and Safeway. Grocery worker Sam Dancy tells KIRO 7 TV.
I'm sick and tired of the fact that they're not addressing scheduling, they're not addressing staffing, they're not taking care of their associates.
The companies say that this does not mean the strike is imminent. They stress more talks are scheduled for next week. This weather report brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies with highs near 80 today. It's 60 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
All right, it is Fresh Fridays. Welcome to the Gee and Ursula Show. We are so glad that you're with us. I'm Angela Poe Russell, along with the iconic Mike Lewis, filling in for Gee and Ursula.
When did I graduate? From between Thursday and Friday,
Today,
I graduated to iconic
it's
status.
It's Fresh Fridays.
Right,
what can I say?
Depends on to guess what the icon looks like.
Maybe Nick will ponder that for us. Don't tempt him. Good morning, Nick.
The bonus deposit came in the mail overnight, so
there you
got
go.
to upgrade
That's
while you're
it.
sleeping.
Okay, Chef, thank you for everything you've been doing. Good morning to you. You know, isn't it National Donut Day? And so we have been fortunate to have Top Pot visit on this National Donut Day. So take advantage. It's always a good day to have a donut.
I nearly was late walking into the studio because I'm walking past and then I just sensed sort of a disturbance in the force and I look over and sure enough,
It's
the table
donuts.
is loaded with donuts.
All right, we have a great show lined up for you today. Feel free to join us in the conversation. Text us at 888-973-5476. Right now, let's get to Ursula's top 5 stories. The union representing thousands of grocery store workers say they are past tired of waiting for a good contract, and they've officially approved a strike. After 3 days of voting, 97% of the employees who work for Kroger and Albertson stores rejected the latest contract offer. Now, this vote doesn't mean they are for sure hitting the picket lines, but it is the precursor. Stores impacted include Fred Meyer, QFC, Albertson, Safeway, Hagen and SARS. 30,000 workers in Washington part of this, nearly 100,000 if you add Colorado and Southern California, who are also potentially participating. Workers want better wages that keep up with the cost of living and a fully funded health care plan. Grocery worker Sam Dancy told KIRO 7 TV that employees and customers deserve more than the bare minimum from Kroger.
I'm sick and tired of the fact that they're not addressing scheduling, they're not addressing staffing, they're not taking care of their associates.
According to King 5, the company offered a little over a 12% wage increase for top-rate associates, along with continued investment in healthcare and pensions. The contract between the company and union workers ended last month, May, but they both agreed on a contract extension. That agreement can be terminated with a 72-hour notice, and a strike could not begin until after that time period. More negotiations are set for next Thursday. So, Mike, I mean, when you look at this, 97% of them approving it, that's an overwhelming message.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I was part of a strike authorization vote with the Newspaper Guild back in 2000 when I first got into town. And it was weird getting into a job, still being on probation for that job, and then having to participate in a strike vote. It made you kind of worried because you could be fired for any reason while you're still on probation. But nonetheless, it is one of those things that puts additional pressure on both sides to negotiate. And you got to, if you have and it's risky for the unions too, because if you do a strike authorization vote and you have 70% approval, immediately you know that your negotiations are going to get much tougher.
Right.
97% is one of those things that like, all right, we're not as close as we thought we might be. Because the whole time justifiably, management is trying to go past the union leaders and get to the membership and say, hey, wait a minute, think for yourselves on this one. This may be a good deal. In this particular case, I don't think that they've managed to persuade anyone, or at least no more than 3%, that this is actually a good contract offer.
Yeah. What is your perception? I'm curious of what's happening in the industry, because just anecdotally, when I go to some of these stores, I am struck by just the price increases. I know we had bird flu, we've got inflation going on, but but here's when I know something changed. And you all have heard me talk about this if you listen regularly. These days, I'm able to go to like Amazon Fresh, PCC, Whole Foods and find cheaper prices. And I'm like, when did this occur? And this also made me realize when I looked at, we have a huge, we don't have a lot of independent grocery stores. When you look at how many of these are covered under one umbrella.
Country. No, it's certainly true.
Yeah, which makes it difficult.
Absolutely. So I think that for anyone who wants to know how we got to where we are, I don't know that I think the food prices, of course, but it's not like you have a whole lot of choices. And even if you can find some good deals in individual stores, you're still probably disinclined to buy those things there and go to another store and then go to another store and then go to another store. You're going to, and not all of them are good on every price. I think if anyone wants to know where this all started, I'd go with self-checkout. I mean, self-checkout completely undermined the grocery workers. When I was in college, which admittedly was a generation ago, the best possible job you could have as a college student was a supermarket checker because they made decent money. They made like living money. And if you could manage to parlay that and sort of, if you were like me and had to put yourself through school, you absolutely could sort of survive, with even though your schedule was obviously very full. They were good for many years. They were very good, almost career-based jobs.
Totally.
That has declined. But if you want to know if you have been an agent in all of this, every time you use self-check, every time you do, you choose that, you are making a decision that, one, you want to get out of the store fast. Two, you think you can, they handle a small bag of groceries yourself. But three, that the level of employment that they have is perhaps a bit much, and they don't need to have that many to check out just as many groceries.
Yeah. One thing that's been tossed around in this negotiation is how much Kroger's making. And, whenever you read their quarterly reports, it can be hard to decipher all of it and all their billions of dollars. But there was a little spat on social media with someone from, the worker side saying you made this much money, and then someone saying, and this is true, like their profit margin was like 1.81%. But 1.81% of what, right? And I think that's the key point.
The percentage thing is always a key to sort of tease out. Like,
Yes.
what is the percentage? Does a percentage mean, oh, it's sad, it's only 1%, or does that 1% mean $1 billion?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you teed that up, Angela, because I knew it was coming up. Oh, it's such a low margin business. It's only 1%. Do you know what does not count when calculating your margin? You get to discount your dividends. You get to discount your stock buybacks. Their total profit from in the last 5 years, $13 billion. You know how much they've spent on dividends and buybacks? About $17 billion. And I'm going to start hammering on this, that dividends and buybacks are taking money out of workers' pockets and making every large company in this country worse. There are three things companies can do with their profits. They can pay their workers more, they can reinvest in the business, or they can give a fat check to the rich people who are investing in them. And that is what dividends and buybacks are.
Remember, though, it's not just the rich people who are investing in them.
Oh, it's my 401k.
No, but it's also what? It is the entire upper level of management there that gets their compensation in the form of stock grants or stock vesting. And that is also the reason for the buybacks. It keeps the folks at the upper tier richer and happier.
Okay, well, in more depressing news. The number of landlords filing for eviction in Washington is skyrocketing. Investigate West and the Washington State Standard looked into this. According to Washington's Office of Civil Legal Aid and King County alone, eviction filings in January, and I want you to take this in, they were 66% higher than pre-pandemic levels. Filings statewide reached an all-time high last year, increasing by 53% since 2019. And this year, fiscal year 2025, on pace to surpass those numbers. Housing advocates in Washington hope a newly signed law will help with this. It went into effect immediately, and it caps yearly rent increases to 7% plus inflation, or 10%, whichever is lower. If you live in a mobile home park, rent is not allowed to increase more than 5% in a year. Under the new law, landlords are required to provide tenants with 90 days notice before raising rent. Do you think this is going to help, this new law that just passed by the state legislature, Mike?
I don't know. I mean, I'd be very curious if it does. I hope it does. I hope it actually has the intended effect is to not be such a restriction that people stop building affordable housing, but that it does give renters some level of certainty on what the worst case scenario is year to year to year on the lease. I personally have employees at our business who have seen 20% increases. I mean, this is, and the weird thing about Seattle, because of all the pressure from higher wages and less affordable housing, is that we have managed to do this interesting trick, radically increase density in certain neighborhoods, Queen Anne, Belltown, downtown, while not increasing affordability. More units, less affordability. That's an unusual sort of ratio, and that's where Seattle has gone for the last 5 years. I hope that, the cap on the 7% cap on rent increases actually does help people, just stops the level of evictions. I will say, though, that the other things that have changed as far as evictions goes, it's gotten easier to evict people post-pandemic. And a lot of those, the incredible drop in evictions during the pandemic, like a 40% drop, was tied to restrictions on your ability to even evict someone who actually, in some cases, deserved to be evicted. That is now recalibrating into this real rush. Because remember, even though the pandemic ended a while ago, you have to go through a specific eviction court. That is a separate channel in the court system. And when you go into that, it is incredibly backed up. Like, just getting on the docket will take you a couple of months. And if anything delays it, that'll push out another couple of months. And so right now, they are still dealing with a backlog of cases that started from a few years ago. I think next year is going to get really interesting, in the year after, because you're going to see both the effect of the law and you're going to see this backlog of cases kind of cleared out, and you're going to get to a more realistic appreciation, but I do suspect it probably still has gone up.
Yeah, at first I was against this law because I knew it might provide a disincentive for people to maybe, put up their homes for rent. especially with, certain costs going up.
Absolutely.
But then when you hear how many people are gouging, I mean, I knew I experienced it as a renter where someone raised it on me by, I forget the amount I was paying, but it was like some 30, 40. It was a ridiculous increase. And I was like, you know what? You're gouging. It's wrong. And then the cost of moving becomes cost prohibitive.
Absolutely.
And so it just makes me angry that so many landlords did that.
Even
that
trying
had
to
pass
claw
this
back
law.
your cleaning fee, right? Like all of that kind of stuff, they would nail you so much that you almost had to stay and take that additional raise. You're totally right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get to our next top story. We have another one here. Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank is calling out the Washington State Patrol on social media, and you will not believe why. Or maybe you will. Wednesday, during a raising of the pride flag at the state capitol, 2 lines of troopers, Washington State troopers, marched through the event instead of taking an alternate route around the crowd. Videos of the incident on social media caused some to speculate that the troopers had deliberately disrupted this pride event to intimidate the crowd. Afterwards, the State Patrol issued an apology, saying that the team leading our cadets to their graduation ceremony did not adequately communicate about the alternate route planned around the crowd. The post went on, it was never our intention to disrupt an important community event. Well, Sheriff Swank is upset over the apology, saying the agency should be embarrassed for apologizing. And WSP, who wants to work for, and he said this, any State Patrol worker who wants to work for a real law enforcement organization should come work at the Pierce County Sheriff's Office. Where do we start on this one, Mike? There are so many things to unpack, like the troopers doing this in the first place, Swank's response, this attack on state troopers. I mean, so many layers to this one incident.
I'd like to agree with you and say there's a lot to unpack, but there's only really one thing to unpack here.
Okay.
Just one giant stinking thing, and that's Sheriff Swank. I mean, it's hard to get around this. Where is the last place on the planet you want to get pulled over? This is like, take a look. Anyone who's curious, just take a look at his social media. Don't just look at this one. That's not even the worst. Have a nice, guided tour through his social media and what this guy says, in addition to choosing which laws he chooses to enforce and not because of his interpretation, non-attorney, his interpretation of the Constitution. This is not somebody who is going to provide sort of an open-minded view of anything. The Washington State Patrol should have apologized. 2, those troopers absolutely marched through that for very intentional reasons. It's impossible to say otherwise. They could have just cut around.
Yes.
It was obvious from the video what they were doing, and what they were doing was unnecessary. Like, even if you don't agree that there should be a pride gathering, march around it. Like, why? What is it that you're proving? And certainly the management there didn't feel like they were proving much of anything except stuff they would rather not have trotted out like that.
Yeah.
Sheriff Swank is an individual piece of work in this state. One of the people who loves to invoke the Constitution while defying the Constitution, depending on his choice, much like people invoke the Bible for their own purposes and then ignore other things in there as well.
Cherry picking. Yeah. Chef, were you going to say something?
No, it's just Mike's cooking.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, so Chef, help me out here. When I looked at the images of the state troopers walking through the event, I said, I'm sorry. That was because I'm not trying to attack, so please hear my heart on this. Like, if I were looking at that scenario, and I'm leaving grace for, the other perspective, but just common sense would say, we need to find another route. I mean, this was an official ceremony with people gathered. Someone was speaking at the podium. And then wasn't the governor there too? I mean, it was kind of like an official thing. This wasn't just like
It wasn't kind of like one.
It was.
I have a lot of respect for State Patrol, and in my interactions with law enforcement, State Patrol has consistently been the most professional and wonderful to interact with.
Agreed.
That being said, there is a major attitude problem that needs to change in policing, and that is how they view people exercising their First Amendment rights to protest and support movements that protect the rights of minority groups in this country. Because when you stomp through a pride flag raising event, you are saying, screw your Pride Month, screw pride, like this thing that people had to fight for. It seems like every single time there is some kind of a protest that involves, let's say, police reform, the rights of black and brown people, gay people, law enforcement sneers at that. Like, we saw a video of SPD with counter-protesters pepper spraying girls in the face who are doing nothing but lying on the lawn. Like, and they have no problem with people showing up with AR-15s at the state capitol. But like the gay people there, it needs to change.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Well, this has been a great conversation. So we want you to keep cooking, okay, Mike? Next, oh my goodness, this is a question I have pondered before, and maybe you have. Why does the Pacific Northwest have so many serial killers? Have you wondered? I mean, I remember even before I lived here, I'm like, why do so many seem to come from there?
I've got an answer for you, but that's after the break.
Okay. All right. After the break, you're listening to the Gee and Ursula Show. Stay with us.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Can you believe a man Sting's coming in? I can't believe Laura put this together.
No.
It's not Sting, so we're getting stung today.
Yes. We have a French beekeeper coming in because it's supposed to be good for your health, actually.
It shows the health benefits of a bee sting.
Yeah, if you've got like something arthritic or something, painful bones, it's supposed to heal you.
And if I weep like a baby?
Well, that's a problem. That's on you. But we're going to try to have manly reactions, but he's going to sting us. We're going to do it today, 1 o'clock.
Watch live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio app.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
The 20% small business tax deduction has helped small businesses grow, hire, and invest. But unless Congress acts, the deduction will end this year, and Washington's small businesses will be hit with a massive tax hike. Representative Dan Newhouse just voted to protect over 33 million small businesses from this massive tax hike. Visit smallbusinessdeduction.com and thank him for supporting Washington's small businesses. Paid for by the National Federation of Independent Business.
Charlie Harger here. When your hot turns to cold, you better think fast. Fast water heater. Call 1-800-THINK-FAST. That's 1-800-THINK-FAST or fastwaterheater.com.
You better think fast, fast water heater.
Right now, Kia of Everett has over 400 new vehicles available, and the great part, they're tariff-free. Hi, I'm Eric Butler, the General Manager with Kia of Everett. Tariff-free means you're going to save thousands of dollars. And our terrific lease and financing offers can help you purchase your new Kia now while the timing is right. The best drive to tariff-free savings is to Kia of Everett, where we make owning a new Kia simple, easy, and fun. Visit Kia of Everett at kiaofeverett.com.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your team and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. And it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on KIRO Newsradio or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Call a day for a free in-home estimate. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Deputies have arrested a teenager they say had a detailed plan to attack people at a mall in southwest Washington in the town of Kelso.
A plan to use an improvised explosive device known as a chlorine bomb to cause panic and then shoot mall patrons as well as those exiting the movie theater before ultimately committing suicide.
FBI agent Douglas Olson tells KOIN TV Columbia County deputies arrested the teen after receiving a tip about the plot and putting him under surveillance. They say he shared his plans as well as extreme nihilistic views in online chats. Friends and family are speaking out on behalf of a Wenatchee woman whose 3 daughters were killed allegedly at the hands of their father. They say Whitney Decker is asking for grace and privacy.
Whitney is living every parent's worst nightmare. The hole in her heart is immeasurable. There are no words that can capture the weight of this loss.
The bodies of 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia were found in a campground near Leavenworth Monday. Their father remains on the loose. Police are searching for answers in the death of a Snoqualmie girl in Shoreline.
15-year-old Ajane Brooks was found dead last Saturday in Shoreline with a gunshot wound to the head and one in the neck. The King County Sheriff's Office is handling the case, but still isn't releasing any information about the shooting. But we do know Brooks was reported missing in Snoqualmie on Friday. The King County Medical Examiner's Office ruled the cause of death was homicide. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Some OBGYNs say the federal government's decision not to recommend the COVID shot for pregnant women is dangerous. In an interview from UW-Medicine, Dr. Linda Eckert says expectant mothers develop more serious symptoms from COVID than women who are not pregnant.
They develop more hospitalizations. They have to be in the ICU more often. They need the use of a ventilator more often. They even die more often.
And she points out there's no COVID vaccine for babies under 6 months old, but pregnant mothers who are vaccinated do pass along some immunity to their newborns. The May jobs report released today shows the U.S. economy added 139,000 jobs. There are still concerns, though, about the trade war, the health of the economy overall, and interest rates. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 390 points. NASDAQ ahead 223. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, a crash is blocking the northbound I-5 ramp to State Route 525 in Alderwood. Still some localized slowing there. Maintenance work is wrapped up in the right lane of northbound I-5 at Everett Mall Way. The backup cleared out quite quickly there. You're slow on State Route 18 from about the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. Travel times, Everett to Seattle, half an hour. Federal Way to Seattle, 36 minutes. Still about 5 longer than typical. Rented to Bellevue, 24, and your lake bridges are nearly clear. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 80. It's 66 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Mike Lewis, Angela Poe Russell here. Why does the Pacific Northwest produce so many, comparatively speaking, so many serial killers? Ted Bundy, Gary Ridgway, Robert Pickton in Vancouver. That was the pig farm murders. We had Charles Manson spent time up here. We've got a whole bunch. And there is a new book out, Murderland, which is actually getting pretty strong reviews just from being a super interesting walk through this sort of, if you're a true crime fan, this is probably the sort of book for you. And the author, in an interview with the Seattle Times, has an interesting perspective on drawing a correlation, which isn't a causation, but a correlation between where these serial killers were born and incredibly unusual levels of lead pollution in those areas from prior factory operations. And that lead has been shown. I mean, there was problems with lead early canning in the industrial age, canning of vegetables, canning of fruits, canning of food, led to like severe lead poisoning in people because they were using lead solder to seal the cans up. But it also was leading to really crazy behavior among people who got lead over a certain amount in their body. And we also know, I mean, you probably had to do, or maybe you've experienced some lead abatement issues in your older house with old lead-based paint, things like that. So let me ask you, Angela, do you find any sort of, and the author is not saying this has happened, she's just saying it's unusual if you overlay the data, how you get correlation. I imagine there's plenty of areas where there isn't that correlation. I've not yet read the book, but I do plan on taking a dive into it because I read anything involving Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, okay. You know, Gee and Ursula always say, keep it a buck. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I've always wondered this, like, why so many, in
this area, right?
And, you feel like there's something in the air. What is it about it? And I'll never forget my first night staying here. I'd moved here from Philadelphia, and I'd lived in various parts of the country. And my first night here, I wake up and I just smell marijuana. And to be clear, I'm not blaming marijuana. Okay?
Right.
No, I'm going somewhere with this. Right. But I smell marijuana. It was the first place I'd lived where it was like, do you live how you want to live? Try this drug if you want to try it. Like, so I wondered if it was like this culture of just like kind of live and let live and do your thing. And then I also wondered, I'm like, there's all this nature here. I'm like, are they smoking something in the woods? Is it the shrooms? Like, what is going on? And once again, I'm not saying that shrooms cause people to be a serial killer. I know that there are studies that show it can help with.
Society was looser here.
Let me just finish this thought. I want to make sure I'm clear that I know some studies have shown that medicinal mushrooms can be good for treating PTSD. Yeah. So I want to be clear on that. But that was my perception. So you summed it up perfectly, that it was kind of a looser culture, a left coast.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I don't know. I would love to see, more of the data, because people, as we all know, people can cherry pick all the data that they want to back up their own. And I don't know whether, I think she is being pretty honest in saying, hey, I'm not saying this is a cause. I am saying it's weird how you find this correlation between data sets and what we managed to produce in great quantities here. I think she was talking about like lumber and fishing and tech. And serial killers essentially is one thing that we're good at in the Pacific Northwest. I'd say it's something different.
Oh, okay.
I think that what we have here is I think we have law enforcement agencies, and I would give former Sheriff Dave Reichert credit on this, former King County Sheriff. I think that we have two things going on that you didn't have from a serial killer standpoint, that you didn't have, let's just say, even to the north of Canada with Robert Picton and the pig farm murders. You have, I think, a quick willingness here to embrace the idea when you have multiple similar killings, maybe 2, maybe 3, they'll jump on the investigation. They'll build the team regarding serial killers faster here than in a lot of law enforcement. That doesn't mean that you're then going to find a serial killer, but it means you're prepared for it. In Canada, for example, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, I don't know that I've ever seen a law enforcement agency fail its people more aggressively than the RCMP up in Vancouver, who had, and I'm not exaggerating here, 48 women disappear over a 10-year period from a 2-block area.
And couldn't figure it out.
Did not think serial killer at any point for almost 10 years as this was going on until it got. They not only had reports of some guy driving around, they had the vehicle description. And they just kept saying nope, because it was Indigenous women, and they just were not, and who were all estranged from their families, and they were working the streets, drug users and prostitutes, and they just couldn't. That would not have. I mean, say what you will about societies and being violent and things like that, and the United States, we have a reputation for that, but in part we also try and weed it out aggressively too, right? And in this particular case, that wouldn't have, if that happened in Seattle, if that happened in Tacoma, law enforcement agencies would not have waited a decade to take a look into 48 women disappearing in a 2-block area over the course of a decade. Would not have happened in the United States. And so I think that what we have here, we find it because we're looking for it more quickly. I would be interested. I'm very interested in the pollution aspect of it.
The lead piece, yep.
Sure. I mean, and I'm not in any way saying that couldn't be a contributing factor, but I suspect that we're also just, there's a certain, with some exceptions, there's a lot of aggressive investigating that goes on up here. I think it's always been a hallmark, of law enforcement up here, particularly when it comes to murder investigations of this sort.
Totally. Well, that was certainly a rich conversation and a lot to really think about. A lot of us woke up this morning hearing the news about not a serial killer, but like a plan for a mass shooting. Federal agents say they stopped one that was planned at the Kelso shopping mall. According to Coin TV in Portland, the FBI arrested a Columbia County teen last month who they say had detailed plans to launch a deadly attack. FBI spokesperson Douglas Olson says the teen wanted to detonate a chlorine bomb and then open fire on shoppers at the Three Rivers Mall. Here, take a listen.
The subject had been planning a mass casualty event at the Kelso Mall since early this year. They had very detailed plans, as well as an intent and means to carry out their plan.
And check this out.
The plan included a map of the mall, a route the shooter would follow, a plan to use an improvised explosive device known as a chlorine bomb to cause panic and then shoot mall patrons in the mall, as well as those exiting the movie theater before ultimately committing suicide.
FBI spokesperson Douglas Olson says his views echoed those of the man who attacked a Palm Springs fertility clinic last month. Both suspects expressed anti-nationalist views, the belief that humanity should stop reproducing altogether. Again, the teen was arrested before anyone was harmed. And, these stories don't always make the headlines because they were prevented. But thank God, and we should, because great police work, and we need to get more info on how they were able to crack this case.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy to think about something like that being planned.
It's great. A couple of things. One, on my earlier screed about high-quality law enforcement investigation, the FBI gets all kinds of credit for looking into this. Two, whomever, and I don't know, you're not listening, probably not listening, but if you are, just in case, or if you've ever done this, if you were the person who actually saw the posting of the plan and then notified law enforcement, because that's how they found out, was a tip on somebody on one of these private 4chan grade websites where someone was showing this stuff. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for saying something.
Yes. Okay, well, you're listening to the Gee and Ursula Show. Coming up next, what are we talking about? Oh, we basically have this drought advisory that's been issued. We're going to talk to Ted Beener about why meteorologists can no longer trust hurricane forecasts.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Bad news.
KIRO News Radio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
Get the latest live from KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impacts for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
G. Scott here with former Seahawks Cliff Averill and Doug Baldwin. I heard you guys are having a celebrity pickleball tournament to raise money for Nourishing Champions. Why pickleball?
Pickleball is, obviously, it's a growing sport, but also just the community in Seattle, they've already welcomed it. The beautiful thing about this model is that we will actually be playing with community.
You know, we're excited about this pickleball tournament. It's all about bringing families together, but also, you know, you get to come out there and compete against myself, Doug, Michael Bennett, and we are the most competitive people. So regardless of how sorry Doug might be, he will be out there competing like it's a Super Bowl. And again, it's just all about bringing community together and having a great time, but all for a great cause and raising money for these grassroots organizations.
Come out and help me beat Cliff. Help me beat Cliff.
All right, this is going to be fun. Sign up for the Celebrity Pickleball Tournament, open to all skill levels. For details, go to championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. You know, Dave, I love sport. You love sport. And I love sitting with coaches and hearing their game plan each and every week. What are the keys to a First Mark Insurance game plan?
It's a great question, Brock. I think there's really 3 keys to a great game plan with us. Number 1 is we want to make sure that our clients have the correct coverage for their unique specific needs. So that's number 1. Do you have the right coverage? Number 2, once we have the right coverage, are we getting that coverage at the most competitive price possible? And then last and not least would be, once we have the right coverage at the most competitive price, are we providing world-class service to those customers so that when they need it, they have someone there that's got their back?
Those are the 3 keys to a First Mark Challenge victory. And man, am I so glad Molly and I took the challenge. We are one of so many through a decade plus of being a First Mark Challenge victory. You can too. Just simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com, firstmarkinsurance.com.
Hi, I'm Keith Dashafee, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. We're celebrating 100 years of Pella excellence with an offer as strong as our legacy. Get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, and enjoy 100 days with no interest and no payments. It's our way of saying thank you for letting us be a part of your homes for a century. Visit PellaPNW.com to schedule your free consultation today. Pella, 100 years strong.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Wait, if I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Mike Lewis, Angela Poe Russell here. Sunday is expected to be the hottest day of the year so far, with temperatures expected in the mid-80s. And the drought forecast is looking dire. Of course it is, because we're almost permanently in a drought these days. Veteran meteorologist Ted Biener is here to join us now. Ted, so can you tell us about a couple of things here? One, I know that affected you personally, and then the other one that's affecting us all societally. First, let's talk about the summer drought and wildfire season. What are we looking at on the west side of the state right now?
Well, did you know that Everett right now is more than 10 inches below average for the year?
Wow.
That's through 5 months. And SeaTac Airport's now more than 5 inches below average. So if you look at the latest drought monitor, available online, it's updated multiple times per week, all of Western Washington is in abnormally dry. And a big chunk of the North Cascades, Central Cascades, even down into the South Cascades, extending west to near the I-5 corridor, is in moderate drought conditions. So this doesn't surprise me that the Department of Ecology followed along with that. And we're going to be looking at some form of water restrictions for agriculture, hydropower, fish, all the uses of water. Fortunately, right now, the local municipal water systems are in good shape. I'm a little worried about what happens when we get into August and September, though.
Yes, yeah, because we have the drought emergency, and then obviously this is worse than it was at this time last year. That's what we're confirming,
That
right?
is correct.
Okay, because we haven't had, I feel like we've had a few good summers, in terms of the wildfire. I mean, in January, we were just talking about how fires just devastated California. Should we dare say the words heat dome this year?
Well, that was 2021, right at the end of June, very early in our summer season here. You can't rule it out.
Okay. Well, let's talk about about forecasting for a minute, because that's an important part of this.
So this is an important part of the underpinning of us even having this discussion is the fairly complex modeling that happens to look at what is not just happening now, but what has happened historically and what is likely to happen moving ahead based on analysis. And it looks like this modeling, this work is taking a hit primarily due to federal cuts, DOGE level cuts at National Weather Service, among other things. Can you talk to us a little bit about your own experience there?
Yeah, well, a couple things. Number one of the big elements in the recent reductions in funding, I'm going to put it that way, has been the loss of weather balloon data. Now, for those who don't know what weather balloons are, they are launched twice a day all around the world at the same time, and they get a vertical snapshot of what the atmosphere looks like at that location. I can tell you Spokane is one of those sites that has not launched a balloon in quite some time, and there are about 24 of those sites across North America, a total of 90 overall, but 24 of those are not launching right now because of cuts. So if you pull data out of the system, that means your numerical model, your forecast model is going down out in the future, have less data to work with, and so that starts to lead to some inaccuracies. Now, the DOGE cuts as well. Look what happened to the National Hurricane Center. They say they're restaffing at this point, but these are folks that are not as experienced as the ones who left. This is true at the Storm Prediction Center and many of the other national centers across the country with regards to that kind of an effort. So you have less expertise. Same things happened at FEMA. They've lost 30% of their staff. I was in Virginia, Norfolk and Virginia Beach here a few weeks back. They are very concerned going into this hurricane season. No doubt about that. They do not feel ready, and they don't have the local resources to make that happen.
Well, in fact, on Tuesday, veteran Florida meteorologist John Morales went on air to warn listeners that he can no longer accurately forecast hurricanes. This is in Florida, mind you. No longer accurately forecast hurricanes because of the hatchet taken to those agencies.
No, he's absolutely right.
I've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts. Confidently, I went on TV and I told you it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I'm not sure I can do that this year because of the cuts, the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country, all right? But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind, and we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline.
This sounds dire, Ted.
It does.
I see you nodding your
Yeah.
head. I mean, that's hurricanes in Florida. For us here, what is your worry?
Well,
How would you
probably
sum it up?
for us, for instance, anything that deals with storms that impact us. So let's just take the bomb cyclone that we had last November as an example. Winter storms that come in, mainly our cold air comes in from Western Canada is another example. Heavy rain events and floods is another yet example. Those are the big ones that we have in our area, let alone the wildfire season's just around the corner.
And I would add, for anyone who plans on doing any travel this year, when you can't forecast weather accurately across the country, it affects flights all over the country. This is going to be something that is going to have ripple effects beyond us just maybe missing a storm or two.
Here's something you may not know. Carriers cannot fly into an airport without a National Weather Service aviation forecast.
Right, there you go.
24/7. There's an issue.
There's an issue here.
Well, thank you for giving us your perspective. It was definitely eye-opening.
Eye-opening. I hate to say it, but it's just an ugly situation.
Yep. And try to, you had mentioned that the word climate was like a trigger word in some of your programs that you're having to be careful about using it.
Yeah.
So you don't get your program cut.
Yeah. I'm an instructor with the National Disaster Preparedness Training Center, and one class that was paused is called Climate Adaptation for Emergency Managers. In other words, teach them about the issue and how they can address rising sea levels, extended summers, heat waves, etc., so they can take action in their community to help mitigate the situation.
Yeah.
All right, Ted, thank you very much for joining us. And coming up right after the break, Michael Medved will bring us his wisdom in just a few minutes.
It's a new year, but many seniors are struggling with the same old problem: high prices and rising property taxes. We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, and he says a reverse mortgage may be the answer.
Many seniors cannot afford to stay in the home they love. A reverse mortgage gives them access to equity in their home without having to sell. They can pay off their mortgage if they have one, and maybe pull some extra cash out of their home. And best of all, they have no mortgage payment the rest of their life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you, and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage, the VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Did you know in Washington State, you can see a physical therapist without a referral from your doctor? That's right. Thanks to Direct Access, you can skip the wait and get the care you need right away. Shannon O'Kelly, how has Direct Access changed the game?
Direct Access for us, Brock, is a game changer. Why? Is because there is so much research and data out there that says if you get in early when you have a musculoskeletal problem or an injury, the earlier you get in and we can start care, the better outcomes and the decreased downstream cost, okay? So it's so important. Our providers are all doctors of physical therapy. They're all trained to identify situations and problems. They've got the skill, they've got the talent, they've got the knowledge. If you get in and start therapy early, we're going to get you back to activity, pain-free, and moving and having fun.
Fast, easy, effective. Direct Access is your path to better movement, starting with a single step. Visit irgpt.com to schedule your appointment today. irgpt.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away.
No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Carter Subaru wants to buy your car. Carter Subaru will buy your vehicle for top dollar, even if you're not in the market for a new one. And when you are ready to buy a new vehicle, your drive begins with savings at Carter Subaru. Carter Subaru in Shoreline and Ballard.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
Speaks up for his presidency a day after a nasty back and forth with Elon Musk.
He said it's going really well with regard to the economy. The country is doing great, has never done so well. Jobs numbers are great. Everything is good. Those comments reflect how many inside the White House feel as Musk escalates his attacks on President Trump. They believe that at the end of the day, Republicans will listen to Trump, that he has political capital on legislation and other issues, not the richest man in the world. Robert Costa, CBS News, Washington.
It all began with Musk urging members of Congress to kill the president's budget bill. CBS's Nicole Killian says the feud has the attention of lawmakers.
Congressional Republicans and Democrats, for that matter, just kind of looking at both accounts for the president and Elon Musk to see who's saying what and when. But in terms of what it means for this bill, congressional leaders remain committed to trying to get this over the finish line by that July 4th recess.
House Speaker Johnson expressed loyalty to President Trump today and said he's laser focused on his agenda. The government says 139,000 jobs were added last month. CBS's Jill Schlesinger goes beyond that headline number.
Job creation has slowed down this year. For 2025, job creation is averaging about 124,000 jobs a month. That's down from last year's pace of about 168,000 and is consistent with an economy that is slowing down in growth.
A Japanese company has halted construction on a $1.6 billion factory in South Carolina to help make batteries for electric BMWs, citing policy and market uncertainty. Overseas, correspondent Ramy Inocencio reports Russia unleashed new air assaults throughout much of Ukraine.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is now pleading with the world to pressure Russia to stop this war. But after peace talks last Monday, there's actually now no public plan for another round.
Well, some women in one state could face criminal charges if they lose a pregnancy.
Raleigh County, West Virginia District Attorney Tom Truman says women in West Virginia who miscarry could face criminal charges. Truman is urging women who miscarry to contact law enforcement.
I would say two things. Call your doctor, call law enforcement or 911 and just say, I miscarried. I want you to know.
Some in West Virginia law enforcement have said they would be willing to charge women who miscarry under laws that dictate the disposal of human remains. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 300 points. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Coming up, you'll hear from the man now accused of killing his 3 young daughters. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk, in Seattle, roadwork is blocking a lane on South Dearborn Street at 10th Avenue. Give crews some room there. You are slow on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. In Tacoma tonight and tomorrow, the Wapata Way East Bridge will close overnight for construction. And tomorrow and Sunday, traffic will alternate across Deception Pass Bridge as crews make repairs there. Travel times, couple of slow spots. Federal Way to Seattle will take you 37 minutes. Tacoma to Olympia, 36. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Just months before he was accused of killing his 3 daughters, Travis Decker pleaded with a judge not to take away his overnight visits with his girls.
Your Honor, I think it's important that these girls get the opportunity to be with their dad.
Investigators say Decker murdered his daughters, whose bodies were found at a campsite Monday near Leavenworth. Now, searchers from multiple agencies are hunting for the former Army Ranger. More from KIRO 7 TV's Monique Minglavin.
Your Honor, I think it's important that these girls get the opportunity to be with their dad.
Travis Decker knows how to live off the land.
I'm talking with his father. It sounds at times that he would go out and would be living off grid for sometimes up to 2.5 months.
So resources are pouring in from the air, the ground, on the water, checking the Icicle Creek area and the remote woods, confident they can match Decker's survivalist skills.
We have other men and women who are assisting us who are also military veterans and have that kind of background and experience.
They want to find Decker alive.
Fire and a shooting at a warehouse in Kent leaves a man dead. More from KIRO News Radio's James Lynch.
A 55-year-old Federal Way man who was recently fired returned brandishing a firearm and making threats toward employees. And they say he was carrying a gas can. Officers found the man inside the warehouse. Police say he was uncooperative and holding a gun by his side. They retreated because of heavy smoke and then discovered multiple fires had been started. Then a radio transmission of shots fired and the man was, quote, found deceased. We don't know whether he was shot by officers or took his own life. In Kent, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
High-speed stunts caught up with a driver known as the Seattle Belltown Hellcat.
Hey, Alexa, turn on the news.
107 miles per hour.
Queen, they got my...
The Seattle Times reports a jury convicted Miles Hudson on 2 counts, including reckless driving and street racing. Police say he filmed dangerous stunts, revved his engines, and drove as fast as 108 miles an hour. Washington's drought emergency just expanded.
For 19 watersheds and North and Central Cascade Mountains and parts of the Puget Sound area.
Caroline Meller with the Department of Ecology says drought concerns are being driven by a drier than normal spring and rapid snowmelt, potentially impacting agriculture and drinking water. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 80. It's 68 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
All right, it is Fresh Fridays on the Gee and Ursula Show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm Angela Poe Russell, along with Mike Lewis, filling in for Gee and Ursula. We still have Chef and Nick. How's the morning going for you so far, Chef?
Oh, it's going great. It's going to be a beautiful weekend.
Yeah, you still cooking there, Mike? Mike was just on fire this morning.
I am still, I would say I'm sauteing right now, but I'm working my way toward additional cooking.
I'm going to use that word, some sauteing. All right, well, let's get to what's new at 10.
What's new at 10?
We have someone on that many of you know and love, and we do too. Let's welcome Michael Medved to the show. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Angela, and great to talk to you and great to be enjoying this edge of summer, right?
Yes, and I just have to admit, You know how sometimes there's something happening that maybe isn't the best, but you're kind of being entertained by it? That's how I'm.
No,
do you know where I'm
going
going with this?
I sure do. It's the breakup of a beautiful romance.
A
And
big,
you thought it would
beautiful
last
romance.
Forever. Right. Well, this is one of those things where, I said on the air repeatedly when this romance first began that this will last less than a year. I wouldn't have guessed it would last less than 2 months, but it's done that. Pretty remarkable.
So when you see both of them, you see the big, beautiful bill, you see Elon Musk's sort of quiet acceptance of it, which augured into Elon Musk's outright criticism of it once he left the administration. I mean, who do you think who's on the right side here of this particular piece of legislation? Let's set aside their sort of individual sniping and accusations and threat of being an Epstein file.
That was the fun part. You want to get to?
I just want to find out what Michael thinks about the actual meat of the issue.
Yes,
here.
let's do that.
I will tell you what I think, and it's not based on. It's based somewhat on some inside information, but not enough so that I would try to cite other sources. But when you look at what's going on here, part of this was simply that the Trump administration and the people around Trump, the people with real influence, and like Stephen Miller, for instance, or Susie Wiles, who's his chief of staff, they just got tired of being upstaged by Elon. And I think they were responsible for the crucial move, the one big thing that got him driven from his position. You know what it was? It was that big, huge article about his drug use in the New York Times. That came from somewhere.
Ooh.
And I don't think it came from any Democrats. I think it came from the Trump insiders who were very perpetually embarrassed and annoyed by Elon. And when you're the world's richest man, you're not an easy guy to control. And and he just went completely off the rails because all of a sudden he had to be answering questions about being addicted to ketamine and where those 14 children, or is it 18 children, all those children came from, and the different legal cases with his family. It is impossible to read that New York Times piece about Elon Musk without being struck as to what a nasty hit piece it was. And I don't think he took it well.
Well, I'm curious, though, because all of this was known well in advance. Yeah. I mean, his ketamine use has been talked about for a long time. Yeah. He's not made any secret about wanting to repop. I'm sorry?
Not on the front page of the New York Times.
No, but I mean, it's been widely discussed, right? I mean, this is not like when he was brought into the administration, there is nothing that came out of the New York Times that was more specific, but it was not necessarily new news. So, I mean, do you feel like it's just sort of at a level that they felt like he was ineffective or not serving the president well, or that it was a jealousy thing, that they didn't want to be, these people had been with the president, certainly Stephen Miller, for a long time now, and didn't like the idea of being sidelined for some new guy coming in with an ego every bit as big as the president's himself?
And also who disagrees with the president on most of the key issues.
Right.
When it comes to, it's not just the big, beautiful bill, it's tariffs. It is, to some extent, immigration. I mean, President Trump is still committed to the, quote, dream of basically deporting 21 million people. That's what he talks about. The biggest mass deportation in world history, as if that was something we should be proud of. And Elon doesn't share that enthusiasm. And basically, Trump, I don't think, enjoys being dependent on other people in any way. And financially, and that's part of why the departure of Elon Musk goes along with this incredible explosion of GOP fundraising, and his son's opening this new club, the Executive Branch Club, where it's $500,000 to join the club, but apparently they have thousands of people who are willing to do that. Can you imagine? Would you spend $500,000 to get into a group where you could meet regularly with Don Jr.?
Well, I guess your question would be, would you spend $500,000 to potentially make $20 million in government contracts? Probably so.
Yeah, it might be a good investment. I mean, Michael, as you're a conservative, when you look at these proposals, this proposed legislation, what do you think about the merits of it? Some of the cuts, some of the additions?
Look, I think that there are some good ideas in the big, beautiful bill. It is a good idea to do a big, beautiful bill and to get us away from that notion that we're going to be on the verge of closing the government every 2 weeks. And it's not a terrible piece of legislation. But the difficulty that you have with this, it does nothing about one of our biggest financial problems in this country, which is deficit spending. And adding, they've now come up with a figure at a minimum of adding $2.4 trillion to a budget deficit that's already a national security threat.
Yeah, so you're not for the tax cuts then?
No, I don't think this is the right time to do a whole series of tax cuts. But it's the one thing you could say is it's also not a good time in terms of the balance to have a huge tax increase, but to at least have some of the individual deductions, the child tax credits, the things that benefited the middle class, to leave that, to continue that, rather than have it be turned off automatically, and creating a burden, a new burden of new taxes for the middle class that would be $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a year. So I think that it's not an easy solution, but at least you could say that Mike Johnson so far has avoided a government shutdown.
Mike, you've watched this fight sort of become first a romance and then a longer term sort of dating relationship and then a breakup.
And let me just interject one thing, because I actually went back a little bit, and going back to 2016, he was a Hillary Clinton supporter. Then they went at it in 2022 and they called each other names. So they were like off on, and then on for this. So I just wanted to bring us up because I did not realize that their love-hate went so far back.
And if you want to, make someone happy with you, spend $200-some-odd million on their campaign in one state.
There's that. But finish your thought, because I just wanted to bring us up to that.
Let me ask you a bit about Trump does have a history, oddly enough, of picking these incredible fights with people or responding in a manner that really sort of like sets fire to the room. Yet, if they ever come back and, genuflect or do what he needs them to do, he seems to be able to sometimes move on. Elon, I think, has less of a history of having that sort of immediate transactional flexibility that the president. Do you see them at any point like finding that they have a mutually beneficial cause that they could realign on, or do you think that this is over?
I just can't imagine.
No, I think that when you look at the pattern you're talking about with Donald Trump, it's true. But what's happened with those people is they've completely subjected themselves to his will. If somebody surrenders, take Marco
J.D. Vance is a great example of this.
J.D. Vance would be, but Marco
Rubio, oh my gosh.
Because he's the leader of the cabinet. And he was teasing President Trump in ways that he didn't like about his small hands, if you remember that. And he was little Marco. And then again, it's true with all kinds of people. Lindsey Graham. Do you remember that deal where Lindsey Graham smashed his telephone with a baseball bat because Trump had given out his phone number, and basically Rick Perry had said that Trump is a cancer on the presidency, he's a cancer on the Republican Party. And once you compare, but Ted Cruz, there's another one.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of those people.
But Trump had accused Ted Cruz's father of being part of the Kennedy assassination plot, if you recall.
Yes, I do.
And he also President Trump during the campaign made comments about Ted Cruz's wife being unattractive.
He did that as well. That's true.
And he sort of used words that were much nastier than unattractive. In any event, but what happens is when all these guys surrender and they say, you are the great Trump, and we can come together and do great things. What that means is that, okay, you'll advance my career as long as I regularly kiss the, let's say, ring.
But Musk is facing some issues regarding certainly the electric vehicle subsidy, certainly other contracts, the idea of having the military and the FAA rather, and potentially the military use Starlink. I mean, he was teeing up an enormous amount of additional government money to flood directly into his businesses, none of which is going to continue based on this. I mean, do you ever see him having enough of a need? Because remember, all of these folks don't even like Donald Trump. They just realized they were not getting anywhere politically without embracing him. What about Musk? I mean, Musk has financial reasons certainly to try and make peace.
Yeah, which is why I would take very seriously his declarations of war. And when he talks about, I'm going to support impeachment of the president, Trump doesn't like being impeached.
No one does.
Shocking. Yes, but there's no one else who's gotten 2 impeachments already that he had to fight against.
True.
And when Elon Musk brings up the idea of impeachment and then brings up Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, there are rumors about some very embarrassing, unpleasant tapes being available. He appears to be trying to burn the bridges behind him. And look, part of it is that Elon Musk, say what you will about him, he's not a dumb guy. He's a very, very capable businessman. He's done very well in business, and even some of his business maneuvers that have looked foolish, like the acquiring X for however many hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay. But the difference is he looks at Trump and he thinks, here's a guy who got elected based on the idea that he's the world's greatest businessman. And Elon Musk is a lot richer. I think he's has a lot more of a record as somebody who does have some impressive business skills. And I think he kind of looks forward to competition.
Yeah. Mike, I want to transition just for a moment because you have some big news. You have a new movie coming out, American Miracle. Did you write this direct? Like, tell us about American Miracle and your role in this.
Sure. It's based on my book, which was a New York Times bestseller, The American Miracle, Divine Providence and the Rise of the Republic. And the movie is The American Miracle, based on my book. The subtitle for the movie is Our Nation is No Accident. And this basically, the film takes the comments of some of the leading historians in the country, some of the leading legal scholars, and talks about the early history of how the United States took shape, with the climax really being the Constitutional Convention. And we just had a celebration. The film is opening the end of this week. It's opening in 800 theaters across the country. And I was amazed because I worked on the film. I host the film. In other words, I'm the first voice you hear at the beginning of the movie and the last voice you hear at the end of the movie, because it's basically my argument, which is that if you look at American history, the important reaction, the appropriate reaction should not be grievance or guilt. It should be gratitude. Because we have so much, even to say what you will about Trump or Elon Musk or any of them. And the truth of the matter is we should be incredibly grateful that we have somebody at some stage of our family history who got here, and maybe it was on a slave ship, maybe it was on the Mayflower, but got here from somewhere else and helped build this remarkable country that we all have the great privilege of living in.
Okay, and this is screening June 9th through the 11th, right?
Right.
June 9th. And where can...
At least that. Please, Pacific Place, it's showing. Lincoln Square Cinema in Bellevue and Renton. What people can do is they should go to AmericanMiracleMovie.com.
Okay, AmericanMiracleMovie.com. Well, this is huge news. Congratulations on this. I'm looking forward to checking it out. And if you just want more Michael Medved, you can go to michaelmedved.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
What a pleasure, Angela. What a pleasure, Mike. And enjoy the weekend. And God bless the USA.
All right, Michael Medved. So,
Coming up, we are going to be talking about an unfortunate car wrap job that actually turns into a larger conversation about who do you pick to date and for what reasons, and is it inherently racist if you have very specific ideas about who you want to date? Right after the break.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
You listen to Seattle's morning news every morning. What do Charlie and Manda listen to every afternoon?
I absolutely love listening to John Curley because he makes you think, which I love.
John has a real special talent in being able to talk about the topics we care about, but he's always trying to make it fun. You're going, oh, this guy actually gets it.
The John Curley Show, weekdays 3 to 7. Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio App.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
This Father's Day at Lowe's, score free gifts for the greatest dad. Right now, get a free Blackstone 8-piece accessory kit when you buy a Blackstone 28-inch griddle. Plus, get 2 free select Craftsman V20 tools when you buy an RP brushless drill and impact driver combo kit. Shop these deals and more this Father's Day at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 6/15 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Do you notice sounds coming from your crawl space or attic, or possibly stale or foul odors in your home? This could be that rodents have gotten into your attic and crawl and have made it their home. They tear up the insulation to make nests to have babies. They contaminate it with their biological waste, which can be harmful to your health. And they ruin your home's energy blanket, costing you thousands of dollars a year. If you even think you may have a problem, call Insulation Northwest today, and we will come to your home as soon as tomorrow and perform a free, no-obligation inspection to determine what the problem is. This inspection normally costs $199, but it's yours free just for calling today. If we discover any problem with rodents in your home, we can get them out and keep them out and restore your home's protective insulation blanket back to brand new condition. Let Insulation Northwest give peace and comfort back to you and your family and save you thousands of dollars in energy savings. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. We live in one of the most beautiful places on earth, and owning your own deck is a great way to enjoy it. But finding the right decking solution can be overwhelming. That's why all 9 of our Puget Sound locations offer decking showrooms so you can get your hands and toes on the more than 60 decking options we carry. So if you have any questions about building, maintaining, or repairing your deck, contact me personally, Mike Dunn at Dunlumber.com.
TimberTech Vintage Collection Decking. On sale now at Dunlumber.
Get away this summer on the FRS Clipper Fast Ferry to beautiful Victoria, BC. Named the world's #1 small city by Condé Nast readers. Enjoy fabulous restaurants, shopping, and outdoor adventures. Save with overnight and travel packages. Book today at FRSClipper.com.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Deputies have arrested a teenager they say had a detailed plan to attack people at a mall in the southwest Washington town of Kelso.
A plan to use an improvised explosive device known as a chlorine bomb to cause panic and then shoot mall patrons as well as those exiting the movie theater before ultimately committing suicide.
FBI agent Douglas Olson tells KOIN TV Columbia County deputies arrested the teen after receiving a tip about the plot and putting him under surveillance. They say he shared his plan as well as extreme nihilistic views online. A missing teenager from Snoqualmie has been found dead, and now it's a murder case. 15-year-old Ajane Brooks was discovered in Shoreline Saturday. The King County Medical Examiner says she was shot in the head and neck, but it's not clear where the shooting happened. Friends and family of a Wenatchee woman whose 3 daughters were murdered say she's overwhelmed by the love and support she's receiving.
And it reminds us of what makes the Wenatchee Valley so special. That compassion has been a source of light in this dark hour.
They say Whitney Decker is going through unimaginable pain and asking for privacy as authorities search for her ex-husband, Travis Decker, who's accused of killing their daughters. The girls' bodies were found in a campground that's 11 miles from the Pacific Crest Trail, which leads directly to British Columbia. A U.S. Marshal's affidavit says Decker had recently searched online about information about getting into Canada. Authorities have closed part of the trail and others in central Washington as they search for him. Rapid snowmelt is causing more drought concerns across western Washington. Caroline Meller with the Department of Ecology says in some parts of the Central Cascades, snow is melting about 30 days earlier than normal.
And that means that water then goes out to the ocean way too early and then is not available for use in the summer and early fall when we most need that water available here in Washington.
In response, Ecology just expanded its drought declaration for 19 watersheds, including in King, Pierce, and Snohomish counties. The Mace job report is released today. It shows the U.S. economy added 139,000 jobs, but there are still concerns about the trade war, the health of the economy overall, and interest rates. Nevertheless, on Wall Street, the Dow is up 343 points. The NASDAQ is ahead to 131. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in Tukwila, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 southbound at Interurban Avenue. You're backed up nearly to the Museum of Flight now. Travel time, Seattle to Federal Way, is 24 minutes. That's about a 5-minute delay, and it is growing. A disabled vehicle is blocking a lane on I-5 northbound at South 200th Street. No significant slowdown there just yet. That's in SeaTac. Traffic brought to you by Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 80. It's 68 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee Ursula Show. Mike Lewis and Angela Poe Russell here. Bremerton residents are in an uproar over a local website that advertises exclusive dating for whites. Now, this is how it's advertising is also part of the issue here. It was advertising in the form of a custom wrapped Land Rover Discovery that promotes whitedate.net with the message, "Whites will perish if whites procreate with non-whites." So that is, I would say, not even borderline racist, but let's go a little bit further. Reddit users found the car, posted it was Pacific Northwest P&W Wrap Co., which then got enormous blowback from this and issued the expected apology. The shop owner, Cam Martin, posted this. "I'm truly sorry for this. We are a family-run business, and my family does not support promoting hate, nor do we have any hate in our heart. We love everybody. We knew this was for a white dating app, but the racist stuff was added way later into the project, and we had already taken a large deposit for all of the work, so we were stuck in a true dilemma. We finished the job to get it out and away from the shop. The customer did not come through to pick it up as arranged. We took the job when we had very little work and needed the money. I have no excuses. This is all disgusting. I'm sorry if we offended you. It was never our intent. I regret taking this job and will not be doing any more work on jobs that are questionable. Again, I'm very, very sorry." So there's a couple of things, I think, happening here, Angela. One is them taking this job in the first place, and even when they saw it turning, and still could have walked away from it. They just made a decision, and they could have made the decision purely based on financial reasons. They needed the money and decided not to. But then it started a conversation among all of us about, well, is it inherently racist to have sort of racial preferences on somebody you want to date? Let's extract the caveat on whitedates.net that says the white race will perish if people copulate with non-whites and have children with non-whites. And setting that aside, what is it about the idea of like having racial preferences? Dating sites offer that pretty frequently, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's discriminatory to have a dating site if you're trying to stay within, your race or culture or religion. I don't think that that's discriminatory in and of itself. It's your why for doing it. And in this case, they wrapped it in a bunch of racism vinyl and racism. I mean, the fact that it's like whites will perish if we don't procreate. So many issues. And I'll give you some examples because and I'd love for you to text and let me know what you've observed.
888. Yeah. I'm sorry. 888-973-5476.
So here's a wrong reason. I have had a male tell me he only dates Asians because they do certain, will be submissive or whatever. That's very, not okay. Red buzzer. That is not a reason to, yuck. Then I had one man, and this, I think, is a cultural reason. He said, he's black, and he said, I just can't like marry a white woman. He said, because if I come home and want to talk about the man and the man is her father, like that's a problem.
Interesting point. Interesting point, right?
And another bad reason, this was a white male who's like, oh no, I couldn't date black women, just the attitude. Okay, first of all, you're stereotyping.
Right.
And that's awful. Like, give me a break. So it's when people put these meanings behind it that are drenched in racism or bias or stereotypes, versus there are cultural things that we share in different communities, whether it's religion or whether I grew up in the South. Personally, when I first started dating, I did have certain preferences, but then I said, you know what, I'm going to open myself up.
Right.
And so that's where I stand on it. How about you?
Well, let me ask you, could I ask you another question?
Of course.
So have you dated people, multiple races?
I've gone on dates.
Dates.
Yes,
right.
gone on dates.
But not continually.
Not continually. It was, there were definitely, but again, I don't have a large pool.
Right.
So I would say, first of all, down south, when I was coming up, you just didn't see a lot of that.
Right.
So here on the West Coast, I wasn't single for a terribly long time, but did go on some few dates. And there were some cultural differences. And a lot of them, it was hard to say whether, I think it was less color and more culture, me being from the South. So these particular men, for example, they didn't open the door. He didn't offer to help. We had this
discussion yesterday.
He didn't open the door. He didn't offer to help with the coat. He didn't offer to, I'm wearing heels, didn't offer to drop me off. But there was one moment when somehow race and discrimination came up, and one of the guys said, well, I think we've all felt blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. This is like instead of just like acknowledging my experience, having to tell me. And I was like, okay, there's the disconnect.
Making a terrible comparison with his own experience.
Terrible comparison. What about you? Have you dated outside?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I've the whole Rainbow Coalition, at least when I was dating a lot. But
the Rainbow Coalition, I love it.
So for me, I actually don't disagree on the cultural aspect of it, although I don't know. I mean, my family also, my mom is from Panama. If you were to look at my relatives in Panama, you have a wide, there's a lot of Afro-Caribbean in there, as well as, it's an area that got colonized. It is really Panama is one of the most diverse countries on the planet, because so many people who worked in the canal over the years, so many different races and nationalities ended up there. And so it's this hodge, but you cannot say with any definitive certainty what a Panamanian looks like, because it is literally all over the map.
Right?
It's all over the map. And so maybe I was never my preferences had much more to do. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, much more like having not even interests aligned, having values aligned. As long as that, I actually look forward to learning about somebody else's culture. I think it's great. I'm open for that journey. So for me, it hasn't really been an issue. I tend to like, smart and funny. If I can get smart and funny, after
You're
that,
good.
I'm pretty good at that point. That's good for me. How about you, Chef?
You asking my dating history?
No, I'm asking, do you think it's racist to?
I don't think it's racist, but I also think it's a little bit ignorant to not acknowledge the fact that our dating preferences when it comes to race are informed by the stereotypes and messaging that we have been informed with our entire lives.
Stereotypes can be positive, not just negative.
Sure, but who is most often highlighted as beautiful in this country and has been, throughout my life? It's not black women, right? So I could say, well, I'm just not that attracted to black women. Well, is that my own preference, or is that what I've been taught? Even if you talk about, let's say cultural differences. Well, I couldn't see myself marrying an Asian woman because, it's probably more traditional family values. Well, I don't know that. I don't know what the culture of your family is, how you grew up. So I think we're informed by racist ideas that just bleed into our preference. But I don't think people make consciously racist decisions that way. It's just, that would be bad intent. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, I have one question as we go to break, and so again, to answer it quickly, why are some people obsessed or do have this fear of their race being extinct? I think it's, I bet, because that's what this website was like. Oh, if we don't do this, we're gonna, as a race, we'll disappear.
Well, and also just this idea of what the white race is.
Oh,
you know, like
that part.
we don't even have time to get
listen.
time to get into that one.
Oh my gosh, no truer words. You all are, yes, speaking the truth.
Angela, you're asking that question to us, and I can just say, I have spent exactly 0 seconds worrying about that possible scenario in my entire 42 years.
I love it. Okay, you're listening to the Gee and Ursula Show. Scenarios coming up next.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Can you believe a man Sting's coming in? I can't believe Laura put this together.
No.
It's not Sting, so we're getting stung today.
Yes. We have a French beekeeper coming in because it's supposed to be good for your health, actually.
Show us the health benefits of a bee sting.
Yeah, if you've got something arthritic or something, painful bones, it's supposed to heal you.
And if I weep like a baby?
Well, that's a problem. That's on you. But we're going to try to have manly reactions, but he's going to sting us. We're going to do it today, 1 o'clock.
Watch live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio app.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m., subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Spike O'Neill here. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens gave me back the perfect vision I had up until a few years ago. Now, never need glasses again. Never develop cataracts. Been about 6 months since my RLE surgery. My vision is better than it's ever been in my life. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens, privately owned, no corporate shareholders or boardrooms. Dr. Sharp built his business on the principle of always strive to overaccomplish, never overprice. Call 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com. That's sharper-than-e-vision.com. Official eye care providers of Sounders FC.
Hi, I'm Keith Dashafee, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. We're celebrating 100 years of Pella excellence with an offer as strong as our legacy. Get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, and enjoy 100 days with no interest and no payments. It's our way of saying thank you for letting us be a part of your homes for a century. Visit PellaPNW.com to schedule your free consultation today. Pella, 100 years strong.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
At Carter Subaru, your drive begins with savings. With over 300 new vehicles in stock, shop your way, in-store or from home. Plus, when you buy from Carter, you support our community. Visit Carter Subaru in Shoreline and Ballard today.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Fresh Friday. All right. This is the time where we get a chance to solve, without solving our own problems, but to solve other people's problems.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Guys, I have a question about my partner. He's wonderful, all the great things. You know how these things start. But he eats sandwiches like a psychopath, and I don't mean that lightly. I mean it like I've made a bone-deep, terrible mistake kind of way. He does not slice them. He does not fold them. He doesn't cut the crusts off like a toddler. He peels them like an orange. He will disassemble them layer by layer as if he's performing a forensic autopsy on a BLT. He'll eat the cheese first, just the cheese, then a few bites of the lettuce, then the tomato, which sometimes he actually licks, I swear to God, then the meat, and then finally the bread. Like just the dry mayo-slathered bread. This isn't a one-time thing. This is every sandwich, turkey club, ham and Swiss, even grilled cheese. Do you know how hard it is to peel the cheese on a grilled cheese? He tries. He says it's about enjoying each element individually. I say it's like watching Hannibal Lecter prep a snack. What do? I like him. He's smart, funny, wonderful guy. His eating habits disgust me, though. How should I proceed?
I got an answer.
Go.
One, I certainly hope that under no circumstances someone put cheese on a BLT. So let's set that aside for now, because there's few things more offensive than that. Secondarily, don't eat sandwiches with them. I mean, if this is the only food problem, because every one of us has had a friend, maybe even a partner, who eats something in a way that you just find like so distracting. Well, who is it? Famously, a talk show, Kelly Ripa, has issues. She cannot stand the sound of chewing. And so you don't eat around her because it's like this clinical condition. She cannot listen to people chewing food.
Misophonia. I got it.
There it is. Yeah. So I understand having problems with people eating. I don't know why you'd ever order a sandwich if you want to disassemble it. If you're serving a sandwich at home, just give them the individual parts and let them, don't make them disassemble it. I don't understand, or just don't have a sandwich with this person. If they're good, if they're great otherwise.
See, I'm always that person in any kind of relationship. If someone does one thing weird, I look for the meaning and what does it mean? What are the other? So then I'll start looking at the things around it. So for this person,
you pathologize it.
Pretty much. I'm thinking, I want to know what else. How you do one thing can often be how you do a lot of things. So I'm like, what else is he picking apart? What else is he deconstructing? What else? So I would say this is a beige flag. So if you're not in the, you have green flag, which is good, red flag. This is a beige flag. I'd keep an eye on it, like the doctor would say. Keep an eye on this. See if you're seeing it in other parts of your relationship. And then here's the other thing I wonder. Do we all have weird eating things that we just don't know are weird? Because there's one I have. I like to eat broccoli I will do it with a fork, but I prefer to eat with the stem because I think it's cute. Like
It's finger food.
It really isn't, but
That's
is
not
that weird?
It kind of is.
No?
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That
Okay.
passes.
Do we all have weird eating things?
I'll have to think about it. As for this guy, I think, Mike, your advice is solid. Just hide your bread, hide your loaves.
Right.
And make sure they're never in the same place. As for your advice, Angela, I think if this applies in other areas of the relationship, it actually might be like a sparkling, shiny green flag. If he is that attentive to detail in dressing down his sandwich and spending so much time on each component, I wonder if that translates into other forums.
I wouldn't go too far with this. I mean, there's people. I mean, I get you. I don't know that I'm going to say that deconstructing a sandwich is also like deconstructing a personality, but I would say, this person is crying out for one thing, and you know this well. Charcuterie plate. So just give them what they actually want.
Which
and that's
is
what
charcuterie.
it's a charcuterie. Give it to them, and then you're fine. You're happy. You can make yours into a sandwich, which they may find revolting. They can make into their, and everyone is suddenly happy. Here I am as a peacemaker.
Okay, two quick things. Mike, fact check. There is one cheese that is excellent on a BLT.
No.
And that is crumbled blue. Blue
Ew.
cheese on a BLT is good.
All right.
Scott in 509 says, sorry,
Decent
but
counterpoint.
He says BLT with cheese is standard. That's
No,
what he
it
says.
is not standard. No.
Nick?
Cut off the text line with this person.
Oh.
You do not say the BLT is standard with cheese under any circumstances. I will take the blue cheese, counterpoint.
Yeah.
BLT. I'm going to try that, actually, because I like that. But this cheese is standard? No. Sorry. You are cut off.
Well, I don't know if charcuterie is what he's aiming for either, but
Yeah,
I'm
really.
sure we've all been there where we're so hungry we could eat a horse, but we make sure to prepare and serve that horse properly before indulging. And yes, you can go in straight from the get-go with certain foods like fruits or even veggies, but to conduct surgery on a dish already prepped for you, the dude better have not eaten for days if he's doing something like this. I'd rather have Sir Banana Man eat with a knife and fork than have a dude do this dissection on a sandwich.
If you missed the show yesterday, there's an etiquette guy who cuts his banana with, instead of eating a banana, typically he'll use a knife and fork and all this process. So good throwback to that, Nick. And by the way, Laura in Pierce County, she says she pulls her pizza and her grilled cheeses apart, and I do the same. I forgot. So that's a weird thing.
Are you a toddler?
Okay. So you're all right. Be sarcastic if you want. But I do, when I get a pizza, I do pick the cheese off.
Do you eat the bread?
I do eat the
Separately?
bread. And everybody knows I don't like the cheese. So I just pull the cheese, but I like the fact that it's been on there. I know. I like the fact that it's been on there. And then everyone in my family knows to give me their crust when they're done.
That's like the people
hand
who
it
have
over.
you wave the bottle of vermouth over their martini. Like you don't actually like this, do you? You're not really ordering a martini.
Do you have your husband sleep in a separate room, but he has to lay down on the bed first, just because you like the fact that he's been there, but it's
Are
not
you
like
pathologizing me?
I don't know. I guess I am.
Wow. This took a sudden turn.
You know what? Actually, I'd be cool with that. Give me the cheese.
Yeah,
right?
that's what
I get double cheese.
That's what my dad.
So you got
that's
a very
what,
Jack
that's what,
Sprat sort
yep.
of relationship.
Yeah.
Yep. My
All
dad
right.
did that. My husband does that too. They take
Fantastic.
the cheese. Okay.
Oh,
well,
wow.
coming up, we're going to agree to disagree.
We almost talked right through the commercial. We're
I
going to
know.
agree to disagree. We've already done that. We're going to continue it after the break.
For the news you trust.
Breaking news we are getting.
Experience matters.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo.
James Lynch, KIRO Newsradio.
Good morning. I'm Heather Bosch.
Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
We're on YouTube, our app, and 97.3 FM, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Guys, want long-term health you can count on? It starts with knowing your numbers. This June for Men's Health Month, Revive Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value, including testosterone, blood sugar, heart health, and more. Take control of your health today and stay strong for the long haul. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111. That's 529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com today.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777 or biglou.com.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Stacey Lynn. A day after a very public spat, President Trump is ready to put the feud with Elon Musk behind him. CBS's Robert Costa spoke with the president by phone and tells us he said he's totally focused on domestic and foreign policy matters.
There's some anger about Musk taking on President Trump. Earlier today, I also spoke with Steve Bannon, the former chief White House strategist, and he told me that it's time for President Trump to investigate Musk, to look into his citizenship, whether he has proper citizenship status as someone who became a U.S. citizen after originally being a citizen of South Africa.
And Musk responded to those criticisms, posting on X, Bannon is a criminal. On Capitol Hill, House Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about the back and forth as well.
I don't think the American people care much about Twitter wars. I think they care about us accomplishing our legislative agenda, and the One Big Beautiful Bill does that, and I am laser focused on delivering the product.
The Trump administration wants the high court to allow him to gut the Department of Education.
President Trump is asking the Supreme Court to pause a lower court ruling to reinstate Education Department employees. They were fired as part of the administration's larger effort to dismantle the federal agency. The appeal says the judge in Boston exceeded his authority. He had issued a preliminary injunction reversing the layoffs and the steps the administration has taken to shutter the department. Closing the Department of Education was one of the president's many campaign promises. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is in Normandy, France, attending a ceremony marking 81 years since World War II's D-Day.
May God bless the heroes of June the 6th.
He said the U.S. is very grateful to the French government for dedicating the cemetery's land as a resting place for America's fallen service members. Now to some severe weather. A suspected tornado has caused significant damage in Van Buren, Arkansas, near the Oklahoma border. This woman says a large glass window fell on her grandfather during the storm.
He had glass all in his arm and he was all scratched up. But when I realized that I couldn't get it by myself, I was like, I asked a neighbor, come here, because I need help.
Despite concerns about tariffs and interest rates, the May jobs report was better than expected. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
I think overall the headline is, things could be worse. And all of that anxiety, the waiting for the shoe to drop, it hasn't happened yet.
That report fueling a lot of green this afternoon on Wall Street. The Dow's up 417 points, NASDAQ up 271, S&P 500 up 66. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Did the man wanted for killing his daughters flee to Canada? The story coming up at first from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. In Tukwila, the crash may have been cleared from southbound I-5 at Inner Urban Avenue. Your backup is dissipating. And travel time, Seattle to Federal Way, 24 minutes, just a couple of minutes more than usual for this time of day. You are slow on State Route 18 from about the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. Traffic brought to you by AAA Washington. The key to more summer fun, discounts, roadside rescues, and more. Join AAA Washington today.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. New information that the Central Washington man accused of murdering his daughters might be heading to Canada.
In an affidavit, U.S. Marshals said Travis Decker searched on Google how to relocate to Canada and how does a person move to Canada. He also searched for available jobs there 3 different times on May 26th, just 4 days before he picked up his 3 young daughters from his ex-wife's home in Wenatchee. Chelan County deputies found the girls' bodies at a campsite near Leavenworth, 11 miles away from the Pacific Crest Trail, which leads directly into British Columbia. Flight data shows a Washington State Patrol plane recently circled that trail from above for hours. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Kent police say a workplace dispute turned deadly at a local warehouse. They say a man who'd been fired returned with a gun and a gas can, making threats and starting fires, forcing workers and officers who were called to the scene to evacuate. Witnesses tell KIRO 7 TV.
I heard sirens, saw 6 police cars drive by.
By the time I saw what was going on, it was already smoke.
Later, police heard gunfire and found the 55-year-old man dead inside the building. Washington State University is cutting more than $17 million from its 2026 budget. The Moscow Pullman Daily News says the Board of Regents approved that yesterday. The school is dealing with a drop in state funding and enrollment. Thousands of grocery store workers have voted to authorize a strike. Their union represents employees at Kroger stores, including QFC and Fred Meyer, as well as workers at Albertsons and Safeway. Grocery worker Sam Dancy tells KIRO 7 TV.
I'm sick and tired of the fact that they're not addressing scheduling, they're not addressing staffing, they're not taking care of their associates.
The company stressed more talks are scheduled for next week. Seattle gets ready for World Soccer.
We're days away.
Excited. Love Seattle.
From the FIFA Club World Cup in Seattle, Jill Ellis, FIFA's chief football officer and former U.S. women's national team coach, told Seattle's Morning News.
This is the first time there's ever been a Club World Cup, and this will be 32 of the best clubs from all over the world.
Lots of big names.
Messi, Mbappe, Harry Kane.
The debut match is the 14th in Miami.
I would just camp out in Seattle. Clubs from Argentina, Japan, Brazil, Spain, Italy.
The Sounders host Botafogo at Lumen Field Monday night the 15th. Scott Carty, KIRO News Radio.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies with highs near 80. It's 70 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Yep, it is Fresh Fridays. And it also happens to be National Donut Day, so we are on a sugar high, I would say. I'm Angela Poe Russell, along with Mike Lewis. We are filling in for Gee and Ursula today. They'll be back on Monday, so never fear. Chef's here doing his thing. Nick, thank you so much for all your words earlier. We look forward to hearing more from you a little bit later. All right, Chef, shall we agree to disagree? Let's do it. Brought to you by Guardian Roofing and Gutters.
Just really go at it. All right, we got to talk about some GoFundMe. So Whitney Decker, she is the mother of those 3 little girls who were killed so tragically and horrifically by their father, who's on the loose. Her fundraiser now is over $1 million. I believe it is the second largest GoFundMe campaign in Washington state history. It is still going on. And this is bringing up a lot of complicated questions for people about how we feel about uses of GoFundMe in tragedies like these. So when you see that headline, over $1 million, Angela, raised in a GoFundMe for this mother, what is your thought? What goes through your mind?
What went through my mind is people truly feel like they want to do something. And so GoFundMe sometimes isn't about the money per se, but it's feeling like I want to help and I can't figure out how to help. So I'll donate. And if you don't know the person, then you really feel kind of helpless. And especially in this situation where we haven't captured the person, there were some red flags along the way, and you're like, oh, what? Not at the Amber Alert, and why not this? And you're just grasping for straws. So for me, I see that headline, and I'm like, people want to do something.
I think that's fair. That's kind of the way I saw it. This people don't have a way, an outlet to help, and I think this is one of those stories that is so brutal that it is, I think, a very natural inclination to want to just in some way, try and take away the burden. I mean, and obviously the money isn't going to do that. But what the money might be able to do is allow the mom to not work for a while, like whatever. I don't know how on earth I could function after something like that.
Yeah.
I really have no idea.
Counseling, and you know how expensive counseling is.
All of that. And if you can take all of that, at least some of the financial burden away over X period of time for someone to actually try to, they'll never get their head around it. That'll never happen, but at least find some way to cope. I mean, in that respect, I think the money could be a very good thing. But people have this strong desire, especially, in the United States, the people who have low income have a higher percentage that they donate to charities than people of high income by a wide margin. In the United States, it's an unusual situation in the United States. I mean, people want to participate.
Lower income people are more generous.
Significantly, from a percentage-wise, significantly.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that.
And in this particular case, I mean, I don't know who is donating, but I do know that there is a strong desire societally. I mean, for as much as that feels bad about this country, there are also things that feel like pretty human. And this is one of the situations where you have one outlet here of what you could do. Mm-hmm. And, other than finding the guy, right? And this is what people can do.
Yeah. I wonder how I would feel as a parent knowing that someone was raising money on my dead children's behalf. Like that seems strange to me. When you go through tragedy, you don't want people to say, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. You just want them to do things for you. So just don't say anything, bring the food over, come over and take the dogs for walks, whatever it is, like all those things. But if someone said, hey, I'm going to start a GoFundMe for you, in that moment, I don't know if I would want that. And I'm not judging Whitney by any means, because, Mike, to your point, how long does it take you to recover? You never do fully from something that is so tragic, and you still need to support yourself. And I think a lot of people also look at this and they're like, does she need $1 million? Like, because there are so many GoFundMe fundraisers that raise an outsized amount of money for the need that is warranted. And it's just based largely on either public outrage, public sympathy, or the ability of that individual to get the press coverage, to get the eyeballs on it. And I think what this kind of thing always points out to me is the tragedy fundraising inequities that exist in our country. You know, if my house is broken into or something and it's in the middle of winter and I can't afford to get my windows fixed, and so I post on my GoFundMe like, hey, I really need some help, family's going through a hard time, the likelihood that I will raise more money than, you know, somebody who is low income, living in an impoverished area with a small social network, it's just unquestionable. Mm-hmm. Who gets funded in GoFundMe campaigns is largely explicitly based on how big your social network is, how affluent that social network is, whether you can get media attention, and frankly, a lot of times it's racial, right? There are people who are looked at as asking for handouts as opposed to people that are in desperate need of help. And the whole GoFundMe thing, just it's an ecosystem that serves a need, but I'm also kind of uncomfortable with.
Yeah. No, that was a lot. And I have to imagine as a mom, when you, as much as you could use the help, you know, you have 3 children to bury, again, the counseling, I know she has a lawyer and legal fees and all this stuff to do. There has to be a part of you that feels like, this is, yeah, that would you feel guilty around that? You know, I don't know, but I think there is no good thing when I look into it, but at the end of the day, the money will enable her to kind of create a path, an ideal path towards healing. I mean, we had one person text that she could start a nonprofit. We know that she's already trying to advocate for certain things, certain policy changes. Mm-hmm. So I think that we'll see that in the future. But
I guess the only other thing I'd say is, like, if you handed me $1 million at the worst moment in my life, when I was emotionally, mentally shattered, I would probably be more likely to destroy myself with that $1 million than if I had to make an effort to go and pick up my business. But that's probably just my personality. All right, on to a different topic altogether. If you are a gamer, certainly you know that the Switch 2 is out. There were folks running to the stores, buying up all the consoles. I don't even know if you call them a consoles. It's a handheld video gaming device. I'm sure that
can also be a console.
It can be.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will be corrected on the text line. I'm sure a lot of people were excited. I'm sure a lot of their partners were not. So, Angela, I see this on relationship forums all the time. Like, I need to get my boyfriend or girlfriend to pay more attention to me or husband, wife, because they spend so much time playing video games. Is there anything inherently different or irresponsible about spending 3 hours playing video games as opposed to 3 hours working in the garden or reading a book or sewing or any other hobby that people have?
It's totally a bias. And I have to tell you, it's been a turnoff for me, at least when I was younger and dating. And if a guy spent a lot of time on them, I got really just annoyed. But when you put it to me that way and you think about some of the other things, whether, like, for example, if a guy watched TV for a couple of hours versus did a game, I would probably be annoyed because there's something about the game and the stereotypes that we have in our head sometimes about gaming, that it's not productive or whatever. But let me tell you, there is nothing that will help you with strategy like a Pac-Man game.
Strategy for what?
Just how to navigate, thinking ahead.
Pac-Man?
No, it's thinking ahead, coming up with the right route. And so I'm using that old school example to highlight that there are some really great games out there that, you know, that are not just the ones where you're just shooting people up. There are some good ones out there.
Mike, anything inherently different about video games as a personal time waster?
I do like the invocation of a game that existed when I was just in high school.
I love to invoke Pac-Man when I can.
Well, it is a pretty fun game. So I think anyone who is obsessive on any thing. It doesn't have to be video games. If they do it to the detriment of the relationship, it's irritating. If they do it in a manner like they take their own time and they're into, woodworking, or they're into, doing work on their classic vehicle, if they're into landscaping, if they're into, like the people who get exercise obsessive and will not miss a workout, even though there are other things more demanding, all of that stuff can go from, great, I'm glad they have an interest, into, wow, this is getting in the way of a lot of an actual functional relationship. So it doesn't matter whether it's a video game or not. I'd say the difference between video game and television is, one, if you're not a game player, television can be a semi-participatory thing, like both of you can sit down
mutually enjoyable.
Right. If you're not a gamer, then someone playing video game is an isolating thing, because if they're wearing headphones or something like that, or they're very, very focused on the game. And I would say the second thing about games, and anyone who's played any game or become obsessive about getting through a level in a game or anything like that, there is no end point. I mean, until that game is like, you put in your 100 hours to get from beginning to end, let's just say it's a long narrative sort of game. TV at least shows end, hopefully, unless you're binging.
I'll raise you Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're binging on a variety of shows.
Yeah.
But at least they do have break points where someone hopefully could walk away. You're re-upping on a game. I mean, you can go. Gamers who are pretty serious about it will have these 8-hour sessions.
Yes. Right. Mike, great point. Re-upping.
Yeah. 702 says, game with your partner. My wife and I play video games together nightly. We also play video games with our kids. It's done wonders for bonding and communication.
See, that's great.
I wonder, I haven't played in so many years.
So that's the whole point, right?
Yeah. I think that there is something different about video games. And I am annoyed by them. Like, if my partner was playing video games for hours, I would be super annoyed. One, Mike, to your participation point, they are in their own world. And they're frequently in their own world loudly with other people. They got the headset on. They're like talking smack on the mic. If you don't think video games are inherently childish, just go look at what people's gamer tag names are. Like, what, Taco Farts and Venmo My Mom. Like, it's like the stupidest things that you could possibly, most juvenile.
Well,
seriously, ask people their gamer tag name and watch them blush.
Who is second in command at Doge?
What is it?
Big Balls.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
He went by his gamer name.
Man,
right.
Are you serious?
Yes.
And also, there's something I think about video games, like TV, if it's at a reasonable volume, acceptable. Okay, but loud video games, I had roommates that played video games, and it was just constant and constantly annoying. And there's nothing more annoying than watching someone be slothful in an extremely loud way. I don't know. There's something about video gaming, because it's this like addictive, consumptive behavior too. Well, anyways.
One more thing. Mitch in 918, I just want to see what you guys think about this. Says, TikTok introduced my wife to the concept of parallel play. So she's been accommodating to the games. He plays the games while she watches Real Housewives on her phone or crochets, and we're in the room together. So parallel play. Could you see that?
Yeah, but the thing is,
fine.
yeah, I get it. That's called proximity play, not parallel play. Like, parallel play is like, I'm doing Legos, you're doing crochet, and we can still talk, right? You're just in proximity to that other person. But it's better than just being off alone by yourself.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
All right, teaching yoga on the beach is free speech, according to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The reason this came up is San Diego had a ban on public yoga classes in parks and beaches. Anything with more than 4 people, they wanted people to get a street vendor permit, but a couple practitioners of yoga sued the city, and the Ninth Circuit agreed, saying that teaching yoga is protected speech. Now, Angela, it may be completely legal to host your exercise class in a public park, but is that kind of an appropriation of public space that's bothersome or worrisome to you at all?
The instances I've seen, it's been nothing but a value add. They don't take over all day. It's been just one class. It brings excitement to the neighborhood. When you see a class going on, a dance class, hear the music. What I worry about is, are there some communities where the classes are going on all day and other folks can't use the park? I haven't experienced that personally. So from my view, just in what I've seen in Seattle, it's been a value add. It's been a good thing.
Yeah, I think that it can be an appropriation of public space, but that's what public space is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be this area where you can get your group together because maybe you have a small house, maybe you have a whole bunch of people who want to do salsa classes together, or who want to, kick a ball around, or who want to, roller skate or skate dance or something like that, or break dance. I mean, like I got this really amazing experience in Mexico City just a couple of months ago. Parque Mexico, which is in the Rio, or outside of the Roma Norte, a neighborhood. And it's this giant, it was a former like wading pool thing, but it's about it's about the size of the park about the size of a small stadium. And it's a lot of concrete, trees around it, but like every neighborhood group, because it's the places in this neighborhood are relatively tight, relatively small. It's an old neighborhood. Everyone goes there. And so you had one pocket of break dancers, you had another pocket, two other pockets. It's Mexico City, so 3 pockets of salsa dancers. You had skaters, you had people practicing soccer, you had people doing slaloms on their rollerblades, like all kinds of stuff happening in their own discrete little areas, and dogs running through all of it. It was one of the best park experiences I've had in a long time, because it seemed like you pray for your park to be overused, not underused, right? That's what you want, is you make these public spaces and then you get the people. I think personally, I'm not concerned. I've in no way had my own life affected by someone doing a yoga class on the beach or something like that. Not in a negative way.
But I think it's also I think they can be performative and a little bit exhibitionist. Like,
fine.
Yeah, I know, it's good for you.
Fine.
But like the people that go to a crowded place with their yoga mat and they're doing yoga in front of everyone else, it is always a very attractive, very fit, very scantily clad woman or man who does this. There's only a specific type of individual who does that, and it's the same type of person that films themselves in the gym.
All right.
It's the person like doing downward dog around 50 other people who are fully clothed.
This is the judgment police. Pull it over. Pull it over, pal.
This is the judgment police segment.
You are absolutely taking a molehill and building Mount Rainier out of it.
You've gone after the video games. You've gone after the...
Yes.
You don't think that people who do this in public are performing to a certain extent?
My neighborhood...
if you're salsa dancing and you're in public, I don't know why performing is somehow bad.
Yeah, we do
salsa
Zumba.
dancing
We
is
do
an art
Zumba
form.
in the park.
If you're practicing yoga by yourself in a crop top and tidy booty shorts,
but if
you want people to look at your body.
Multiple people, you're not going to invite a whole bunch of people. Sometimes these are just a gathering of people who want to want a regular yoga class. If they want to do it in public, I don't care. I can look the other way. I could go to another park. I mean, unless they're going to get in the way of my, rollerblading.
Well, you sound a little crotchety today. It's supposed to be Fresh Friday, man. Woo. Okay. Things got spicy. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back in a few minutes to talk about something good. Stay with us.
This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Can you believe a man Sting's coming in? I can't believe Laura put this together.
No.
It's not Sting, so we're getting stung today.
Yes. We have a French beekeeper coming in because it's supposed to be good for your health, actually.
Show us the health benefits of a bee sting.
Yeah, if you've got something arthritic or something, painful bones, it's supposed to heal you.
And if I weep like a baby?
Well, that's a problem. That's on you. But we're going to try to have manly reactions, but he's going to sting us. We're going to do it today, 1 o'clock.
Watch live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio app.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference challenge for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Hi, it's John Curley. You know, I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, Doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, well, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. You know, the option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to longevity. But the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
The Mariners are transforming T-Mobile Park into Seattle's hottest karaoke club for Sing-Along Fireworks Night. Don't miss an incredible post-game show on Friday, June 13th, presented by T-Mobile, after the team squares off against the Guardians at 7:10.
He does it again! Home runs in 3 consecutive games. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper.
It's your chance to belt your heart out on the big stage to chart-topping hits and feel-good throwbacks. Fireworks and Mariners baseball. That's 2 spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
Strong play call! Triple digits to end it and complete the sweep.
Visit mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets and see the complete lineup of Mariners fireworks nights this summer, including a patriotic palooza on July 3rd and an 80s show on July 18th. Plus, check out everything else on deck at T-Mobile Park, including a Father's Day socks giveaway Sunday, June 15th, thanks to Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Guys, want long-term health you can count on? It starts with knowing your numbers. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value, including testosterone, blood sugar, heart health, and more. Take control of your health today and stay strong for the long haul. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com today.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
If you want a dream bathroom without a humongous price tag, now's the time to call Bathfitter Northwest. Ursula Reutin here. I picked Bathfitter because they are the original one-day bath remodeler. They're a local, family-owned business that's been around for 40 years. They own every step in the process to make sure you get the best quality product and the best value. Now get 0% interest for 24 months. Call Call the people I trust to do the job right, Bathfitter, or visit bathfitternw.com.
Cars for Kids, your trusted charity for car donations, also accepts donations of boats, RVs, motorcycles, and real estate. Call today, 877-CARS4KIDS.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Deputies have arrested a teenager they say had a detailed plan to attack people at a mall in the southwest Washington town of Kelso.
A plan to use an improvised explosive device known as a chlorine bomb to cause panic and then shoot mall patrons as well as those exiting the movie theater before ultimately committing suicide.
FBI agent Douglas Olson tells KOIN TV that Columbia County deputies arrested the teen after receiving a tip about the plot and putting him under surveillance. They say he shared his plan as well as extreme nihilistic views online. Friends and family are speaking out on behalf of a Wenatchee woman whose 3 daughters were killed, allegedly at the hands of their own father. They say Whitney Decker is asking for grace and privacy.
Whitney is living every parent's worst nightmare. The hole in her heart is immeasurable. There are no words that can capture the weight of this loss.
The bodies of 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia were found in a campground near Leavenworth Monday. Their father remains on the loose. Police are searching for answers in the death of a Snoqualmie girl in Shoreline.
15-year-old Ajane Brooks was found dead last Saturday in Shoreline with a gunshot wound to the head and one in the neck. The King County Sheriff's Office is handling the case, but still isn't releasing any information about the shooting. But we do know Brooks was reported missing in Snoqualmie on Friday. The King County Medical Examiner's Office ruled the cause of death was homicide. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Some OBGYNs say the federal government's decision not to recommend the COVID shot for pregnant women is dangerous. In an interview from UW Medicine, Dr. Linda Eckert says expectant mothers develop more serious symptoms from COVID than women who are not pregnant.
They develop more hospitalizations. They have to be in the ICU more often. They need the use of a ventilator more often. They even die more often.
And she points out there's no COVID vaccine for babies under 6 months old. But pregnant mothers who are vaccinated do pass along some immunity to their newborns. Health and Human Services Director Robert Kennedy Jr. says the vaccines are unnecessary. The May jobs report released today shows the U.S. economy added 139,000 jobs. There still are concerns about the trade war, the health of the economy, and interest rates. But Wall Street likes these numbers. The Dow is up 472 points, NASDAQ ahead 290. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, no major blocking problems. You are very slow along JBLM southbound. Travel time Tacoma to Olympia is almost an hour, about 10 minutes longer than usual. Other travel times pretty much on target. Everett to Seattle, 37 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle, 28. Renton to Bellevue, 21. Remember, in Tacoma, tonight and tomorrow, the Wapato Way East Bridge will close overnight for construction. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking, call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 80. It's 70 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. This is Mike Lewis here with Angela Poe Russell. Angela, I'm going to flex. I'm going to call an audible here. We're going to make it dealer's choice on what we're talking about. What do you got?
Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite places. And when I tell you it is my favorite place, I put my money where my mouth is. It's Costco. I love Costco. Do you know this about me?
Yes, actually, I did know this about you.
Yeah,
I've got a Costco point to make as well.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell me first?
Yeah, actually, I would. So any of you who are fans or interested in Costco, there's a business podcast. I think it's the most popular business podcast in the world. Something called Acquired. Acquired's podcast on a deep dive into Costco and how Costco does its business is phenomenal.
Really?
It will make you, if you're a Costco fan, it will make you a super fan. If you're not a Costco fan, it's probably going to make you a fan.
And it's called Acquired?
The podcast, the name of the podcast is Acquired. They've done like amazing deep dives on Microsoft. They do one podcast a month, but it's 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours long. It is, you will stay in your car listening to it. That's how interesting. It's these two guys who are, they do journalism, but they really are venture capital types, investment banker types. But they're very smart about the details they look at. And they did this dive into Costco and the history, essentially, of American retail. And I wouldn't just randomly risk my reputation for making good recommendations on books
fired up
about things, but I could not stop listening to it.
Do you remember one thing that just stood out?
I remember dozens of things that stood out. I mean, it's so detailed. They talked about how when Costco is cutting a deal with an individual supplier. Now, you've got to meet an enormous standard to be a supplier, and everyone knows it's all those secret websites about who is the actual maker of Costco vodka. Grey Goose is the rumor. Who is the actual maker of Costco coffee? Starbucks has been the rumor. Like that, they get Kirkland Brands. Kirkland Brands itself, not all of Costco. Kirkland Brands, bigger than Nike. That's how big Costco is. It is an insanely effective company. And when you're a supplier, they make a promise to you that it's written down. They do not upcharge more than, this is how they get such good deals. They do not upcharge more than 14%. The average retail upcharge when you buy wholesale from a supplier and then sell something is 100%. This is how Costco gets companies. They also have something like, you know what an SKU is? An SKU is the individual product, not a SKU.
Yep.
Right. So Costco has something like 8,500. Walmart has like 200,000. Like Costco has fewer things. They get one thing of a type. You've noticed this when you've shopped there. I literally can go on for another. I'm not going to, and I'm sorry about it.
No, I love
podcast
Costco.
This podcast was so detailed and so interesting to me, and it's not just about Costco, but it all comes back to one guy, first name of Abe, who sort of completely changed the rules of American retail sales in the 1950s, and literally everything, all the relationships that ended up as Costco started with this one man.
Okay.
Super interesting stuff.
Well, Costco continuing to evolve. So here's the headline. The company is testing a scan and go system. Now, let me back up. You'll notice one change at Costco. When you come in, instead of showing your card now, at least the one I go to, I have to scan my card.
I scan mine in as well.
When I come in. That's new. Well, now they're testing a scan and go system that lets shoppers scan items with their phones and pay through the Costco app, just like Sam's Club has offered for years. Early results have been strong, and the CEO says the test has been extremely successful at speeding up lines. The idea is simple. Scan as you shop, pay in the app, show your receipt on the way out. No conveyor belt, no cashier, no line. Costco hasn't said when or if it's going to roll it out nationwide, and traditional checkouts aren't going anywhere for now. But if you've ever considered abandoning a cart over a 40-minute wait, okay, chef, that's a little. I haven't had to wait 40 minutes in a Costco line.
Oh no, but he's
10.
right about that. Some Costcos, it absolutely happens.
Okay, so how are we feel? I'll let you all weigh in first. How are we feeling about the scan and go?
I think if you want to, one, if you like lines, it will be fewer people in those lines. So be happy. Two, if you like scan and go, then you've got that option. Maybe someday, hopefully. So it's great. I don't see any things that get people to check out faster. I am a very, very deliberate, fast shopper. I do not linger. And so I'm there for specific products. I get in, I get out. So anything that makes that quicker, I'm for.
Yeah. I struggle with this because I shop at Amazon Fresh sometimes, and they have the thing where you can scan the item as you put it in the grocery cart.
Yeah.
And the majority of the time, I just go to the checkout lane. Yeah. There are just some little bugs with it. It sounds like this phone is going to be a little bit better. But you go into the phone and it just becomes this distraction. It's like, okay, I go in there to scan, and next thing you know, it's just distracting. What might work well with this for Costco versus Amazon Fresh is if you go to a traditional grocery store, usually getting a lot of items. At Costco, I fill it up, but the packages are usually big,
yeah,
right?
When you have to buy
it might be 15 items.
3 televisions, shrink wrapped.
$300. So it could work that way. And then who's going to help me with my boxes? Like that whole thing.
But this is why you should be a big fan of it because a lot of these folks who are now cluttering up the line that you are in are not going to be there. Maybe they'll be doing that.
Yeah, because I like getting help with the box. It's like this big puzzle of how do you organize them in a way. Chef, how do you feel about scan and go?
I guess it's Costco. I would feel weird about it because I would feel like people would automatically assume I'm shoplifting.
Because the idea of just, I'm going to scan everything, do it all myself, not at the self-checkout scanner with the cameras and people standing right next to you. How is that going to work?
They say you show your receipt on the way out, just like you do now. So you do your scanning, and then you got to show your receipt.
Exactly. You do have to show. Although that receipt process is pretty perfunctory.
How many times do they do an accurate item check? In
never.
The Costco checkout line?
They especially if I walk in and I'm getting stuff for the business and it's a bunch of big boxes, they just do that quick swipe with the highlighter pen and send you on your way.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like I'd get pulled out of the line at the end. Like, sir, did you pay for all this?
But I don't want to risk my Costco membership over something like that. No way. Can't do it.
You guys are Costco lovers.
I will
love
say
Costco.
this. There's something, though, that
I used to
love.
hate Costco, but I love it now.
There's something about Costco that I have loved it being kind of analog.
Can I say one more fact?
Sure.
Fun fact about Costco? Their retention rate for employees is insanely high. It's like 90%. That says a lot of so you're getting not only a good deal on things, they actually treat their people really well.
Yeah. All right, well.
What's not to love?
All right, we come back. Ursula's words to live by and your text messages.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Can you believe a man Sting's coming in? I can't believe Laura put this together. No. It's not Sting, so we're getting stung today.
Yes. We have a French beekeeper coming in because it's supposed to be good for your health, actually.
Show us the health benefits of a bee sting.
Yeah, if you've got something arthritic or something, painful bones, it's supposed to heal you.
And if I weep like a baby?
Well, that's a problem. That's on you. But we're going to try to have manly reactions, but he's going to sting us. We're going to do it today, 1 o'clock.
Watch live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio app.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SCHEV.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Got pickleball game? Play with Seattle football legends in the Champions of Change pickleball tournament on June 28th, benefiting high school athletes. Register at championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball or donate at your local Safeway.
IRG Physical and Hand Therapy doesn't just treat injuries, they elevate athletes. From weekend warriors to elite competitors, IRG Sports Institute clinics are built for performance, blending top-tier physical therapy with advanced sports science and personalized training plans. Hey, Brock Hewitt here with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist and owner of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Why? Why elevate athletes as well?
Because here at IRG, Brock, our motto is we want you to be your best self, your best physical self, your best mental self, and your best community self. At our new IRG Fremont Sports Institute, we're providing that type of care. We've got the latest equipment, the greatest techniques, the providers there that are excited to get you better, basically bigger, faster, stronger. Doesn't matter if you're a weekend warrior, a recreational athlete, an elite athlete, we will make you to be your best.
You'll work with specialists who understand the grind because they've been there. With access to cutting-edge equipment and recovery techniques, you won't just heal, you'll come back stronger. Visit irgpt.com, irgpt.com.
All right, welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Yeah, we've had a wonderful Fresh Friday, so thank you for being with us. It's time now to get to your text messages. You want to kick us off, Mike?
I will happily kick us off on the Kroger workers' strike from 206. After knowing our local store employees for decades, it's heartbreaking to see what they are going through. Many are being kept just below full-time status, not because there's no work, but because the company doesn't want to pay benefits. Some weeks they get 15 hours, others maybe 32, even managers. It's completely unstable, not just for them, but for their families. And honestly, our QFC is anything but quality food center. There's no consistency among staff. Customer service is practically non-existent. The products are poor, and the store looks like a mess.
Ooh, Sean in Parkland. I work in the grocery industry. Grocery management won't negotiate with us until we take a strike vote. So every time we get dragged in the media like we're rushing to walk out, when really it's the only way to bring them to the table.
Well said. Bob in Bothell. Kroger's CEO bragged at a shareholder meeting that he kept prices above inflation long after inflation cooled. Translation, he gouged customers on purpose. Called it good business, human garbage.
Okay, in scenarios, someone talked about their partner who literally deconstructs the sandwich piece by piece. 253 says, I do that every time. It's called deconstructed bliss.
So 253, maybe text back in and let us know, why not just eat the why ever assemble it to disassemble it? I'm not sure I entirely understand this. Maybe you enjoy puzzles as well. Dave in Snowco said, this is America. You have the freedom to put what the hell you want on your sandwich, and you have the freedom to eat it how you want. USA, USA, USA. That is the least offensive pro-USA thing I've seen in a long time. I agree with you.
All right,
any sandwich you want.
All right, going down to Tumwater. Sandy says, my friend eats burgers with a knife and fork. Who cares?
$1 million GoFundMe. This is great. Republicans said recently that if you lose your Medicaid, set up a GoFundMe.
Jesus, imagine if the family had that money before that. He might have gotten the care he needed. This is why we need universal health care that includes mental health coverage.
Donna and Lacey, we all know she would gladly give that $1 million back to have her girls back. Absolutely true.
All right, on racial dating preferences, Brian in Arlington, if I need to date a person of a certain skin color, age, or hair size, you should probably talk to a therapist. You might have some blank in your head that you should be working through.
Costco evangelism. 206, I have a childhood friend who's worked at the same Costco for 30 years. He says, I'll never leave. They treat me better than any other place I've worked. It's a testament to how Costco treats its people. Another thing about Costco, when we were talking about Boeing, and Costco has had 3 CEOs in its entire history, all of whom worked at Costco, 2 of whom worked their way up from like stocking shelves.
That's incredible.
Right.
Okay, on video games, Susan in Lakewood, Chef does sound crotchety, but he has a point, and he needs to read Let Them. He's talking about the Let Them theory, Mel Robbins.
I can't imagine he's going to read this.
Oh, come on. Get the audiobook going on that drive home.
I'm not so good on homework.
Yeah. Kenny in Mason County says a lot of sweeping statements about video gaming based on 1 or 2 genres and a few people. Most gaming isn't shooters or overly loud and angry. Actually, I think, Kenny, you're making an excellent point about that.
Okay, so let's get to Ursula's words to live by. Since Chef does not plan on reading the Let Them theory, I thought I would pull a quote from the book. So, Chef, this is for you, but hopefully we can all
He's taking off his headphones.
Your happiness isn't tied to their behavior. It's tied to your perspective. Mel Robbins, quote from the Let Them theory.
Hey, how does that make you feel? Good?
I'm just going to blanket you. Enjoy your performative yoga in the park, folks.
Wow.
You just got to let her. Just let her.
Yeah.
Just
Let her. Let her.
Yeah.
Yes, Nick, and I'm going to let...
Namaste.
Namaste. Nick, help us out.
Well, I don't know about your week, but it's time for a break where I'm spoiling for some extra sleep and warm days at the lake. But I won't be spoiling for a fight online with former friends, unlike certain dudes whose bromance didn't last to see the end. Though there's rumors now a makeup dish is ready to be served with a far-off hope they won't dissect each food item observed. Although knowing who these people are, I wouldn't put it past them. Still kind of weird.
Nick, what a way to end the show. Thank you so much for that. I always love his final words. We need like a segment title and a sound for Nick. Like we come to you, I think don't we need a thing?
There's some inspiration. Okay.
The rap.
I'll think about that.
I'll ask
Banana
AI.
wrapper.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Mike, it was a pleasure doing business with you this
3
week.
days in a row is terrific.
Know. Gee and Ursula were able to take some time, and I think it's been publicly announced that Ursula's been on a cruise, and
Yes.
she posted it on the Facebook page.
Yes.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them both, and then you and I will have the benefit of listening to all 4 of them on Monday because we're fans as well. Thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening, folks.
Hope you had as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Can you believe a man Sting's coming in? I can't believe Laura put this together.
No.
It's not Sting, so we're getting stung today.
Yes, we have a French beekeeper coming in because it's supposed to be good for your health, actually.
Show us the health benefits of a bee sting.
Yeah, if you've got something arthritic or something, painful bones, it's supposed to heal you.
And if I weep like a baby?
Well, that's a problem. That's on you. But we're going to try to have manly reactions, but he's going to sting us. We're going to do it today, 1 o'clock.
Watch live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio app.
Here in the Pacific Northwest, windows can be one of the best investments you can make to add value to your home. At Dunlumber, we have designated Marvin window specialists who have been trained by Marvin to best serve your needs. If you need help finding the right windows for your home, come by one of our 4 Dunlumber window showrooms or reach out to me personally, Mike Dunn at Dunlumber.com.
Dunlumber, building success together.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger, Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
KIRO News Radio.
Get on the YouTube channel.
We're live all day on YouTube. Every show, every day.
Hang out with us. The whole gang's there.
And you never know what you might see.
Back up the camera. Oh, my God.
Just search KIRO News Radio, then subscribe.
You're losing your hair, and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results, receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all three like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around. And every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones